Ah, hello everybody. It's me. It's Andy, Decade Andy. I'm joined this week by Mr. George. He has joined us here. Hello, George. I'm good. Cheers. And yourself? Are you doing well? Oh my god. I've decided, not by choice, but by body deciding, so that I'll go to bed. I sleep for about 3 hours. I wake up. I go back to sleep. I wake up in 3 hours, and then I go back to sleep, and then I wake up at my usual time. No. It's it's gone on for about 4 mornings consistently, and every time I'm waking up at about like 5 or 6 in the morning, I'm just looking at the time, going, "But why? Why?"
According to the chat.
He can now. Thank you, Matt.
Hey!
There you go.
Yeah.
Just make sure you're not blowing out everybody's ears. Yeah, that should be okay. Good.
Excellent.
Thank you,
Matt. Good.
This is,
Yay!
We are in, obviously, technically pre-show. We haven't hit the music, so we can just chat about everything. This is
Fair
just
enough.
the stream stuff. This is for the streamers.
Okey-doke. Cool. Okay, so it's the exclusive material.
Exactly. Yeah, you're on the first podcast now since Mikey's gone. This is the
really?
Cripes.
Wow.
The end of Mikey's era. I looked at the news this week and I went, there's not much news. So I'll just put it off, and we could talk about some G1 toys.
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah. There's a few bits and bobs, but
nothing significant, right?
No, I can let it build up, and I can talk about it next week.
I
thought that would do. And hey, I'd like to talk about some headmasters and whatnot.
Oh, my favorite era of G1 Transformers. I've got to say, my favorite era.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I mentioned it on the last time I was on here, but I was like, I love these guys, but I was too young to really take full advantage of them. I mean, like, these were like, what, 1987, 88, is that right?
Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah, so I was like
87.
3.
Yeah, because the movie was 86, wasn't it? So
I was 3.
I was either 1 or 0, depending on the month.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I had some of these guys from, car boot sales and whatnot. But by the time I kind of got interested in them, and I imagine it's true of you as well, Andy, they were gone.
Oh, massively gone.
It's such a shame because, like, I remember getting the thing that I remember most is, first of all, my cousin got Nightbeat. The Autobot little headmaster.
Yeah.
And he came with one of these catalogs, actually. It was one of these catalogs. It was the Decepticon one. And I remember seeing Scorponok on there.
Oh, yeah.
And just falling in love with it.
Yeah, and you couldn't get it.
Couldn't get it.
Of course you couldn't.
Not get the bloody thing.
Nope.
My parents still talk about it. My parents still talk about it. They still talk about like this period of years that stretched into the 1990s, where I would say, like, every Christmas it would be, I would like this, but if you see Scorponok, get me that.
Oh no.
And of course they couldn't, because this was pre-internet.
Scorponok in this country?
Oh, not very. He was available. There were people who had him, but he was like really poorly distributed. I mean, really poorly distributed. It was like on the shelves for a Christmas, and then it was gone.
Oh wow, okay,
it was gone.
At least it wasn't a swoop situation, I suppose. But yeah, I guess I can see from a retail perspective why you wouldn't want that hanging around, because it was huge.
Well, it's big. It takes up a lot of space, doesn't it? That
massive amount, and it's just like if you're not getting it for Christmas, parents probably weren't getting it for you. I don't
exactly because he was an expensive beastie, wasn't he? That one.
I mean, he wasn't Fort Max, but because he was even more. Whew, boy.
And of course, not available at all in this country.
Was Fort Max not in this country?
Nope, didn't meet safety standards in the UK at the time.
Oh, that's right, because he dropped and he exploded, didn't he? That's
exactly.
Right.
He didn't meet the drop test. Yeah, that's right.
Oh my god,
just so brilliant. Yeah. But then again, I mean, like, to be fair, Fort Max could easily like injure a small child, if it fell over or something.
Definitely.
It's a big old beefy piece of work.
I mean, depending on your age, it might be taller than the child wanted to have it, I suppose.
Right, exactly. Scorponok was big enough. He's playable. Scorponok's playable. He's great,
Oh yeah.
Fort Max, I struggle to see how you'd play with him as a kid.
Well, play with him as an adult is difficult as well, to be fair.
right.
We'll get to it. How about I play
We
the
will.
intro music and we can get straight into it, because I want to. I'm already in the
I'm
mood.
absolutely
I'm
fired up.
jonesing. Yeah, all right.
Fired up.
Let's get some music going. I'll play that music.
Hey.
Welcome to Moonbase 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast. My name is Andy, Decade Andy, and I'm joined here to talk about the Masters of Head. This week it's George. Hello, George.
Might want to rephrase that.
No, it's fine.
No, it'll do. It'll do. Okay, fair enough.
We'll do it live. It's fine. We're gonna do we're gonna talk about 1987 Headmasters, Autobots, and maybe Decepticons, depending on if time allows.
Maybe we'll get onto the cons. I don't know.
I don't know, because there's a lot to talk about, I think.
There is, isn't there? I love this. As I said, before we came on, I love this era so much. This is like my jam.
I'll tell you why we didn't talk about this pre-show, but I'll tell you my side. The thing I hated about Headmasters, right, was because every time I went to Center Parks during the summertime, so this would have been, I guess, 1990. I guess.
Right.
They'd have Rebirth on for like the summer special on like CITV or something. I don't know. So I'd never see the entire thing, but I'd always see these characters and I always thought, oh, Headmasters and Target Masters, so cool. Love the designs. Thought they looked great. And like you, as you were saying pre-show, you just couldn't get them. They didn't exist.
Couldn't get them. They didn't exist at that point. I mean, don't you find this weird, like trying to explain this to people who like maybe weren't born before like eBay and the internet and whatnot, or just weren't around? When toys came and went, they came and went.
Yeah,
that was it.
The only reprieve I had as a child, luckily, was the Golden Collection that they put out. That was it. That's how I got like most of my Transformers, and that's why it was kind of this weird spread of like, Combiner Wars, not Combiner Wars, but Combiners. Then random season 1, random season 2.
Likewise.
Did they do season 3 characters in the gold?
God, I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. But it was very patchwork, wasn't it? And very occasionally, you had this weird phenomena happening in the UK and across Europe, actually, where a toy store would happen upon a cache of the older toys.
Oh, yeah.
And they would stock. It happened in my town. There was a little, and it happened well late on. Actually, it happened in the late 1990s. There was a small toy store in my town called Brown's, and it was this tiny, tiny little store on the high street, and they found a cache of toys from this era. They found Headmasters, Target Masters.
No way.
They had Six Shot. They had the clones. And I remember because I got Six Shot and the clones from that store. And it was long after you could not even see those toys,
Was it literally one of those things where it was in a box in the back of the warehouse?
Yep. It was exactly that.
That doesn't happen anymore, but it used to.
It used to.
And it always sounded so amazing. It sounds so good.
I remember getting like Skull Cruncher and Weird Wolf and Mindwipe, my favorites, the Decepticon Headmasters. I was like, just over the moon. Over the frigging moon, I can tell you, as a kid seeing them, because I was aware enough at that time, because again, this is like mid 1990s. I was very aware at that time that this is what had happened, that these toys had gone and it was the end. Their era was long past and would likely never have them.
Yeah.
And then this happened. I was like, you can imagine, right?
Oh,
my mother was not pleased.
I can imagine the idea of it, but I can't imagine it happening, because it's like, can you imagine? It'd be like now going into a random antique store and just seeing pristine 80s or 90s toys. You just can't imagine it happening, because they would go and they'd be put on eBay instantly.
Oh,
you might not even go in the shop.
Right.
The
but at this
might
point,
just go eBay.
They were just toys, right? They were just produce. They were just items to sell, and that was it. Yeah. They certainly didn't know what they had. They certainly didn't really know what they had. So they were also reasonably cheap.
I was going to say, were they cheap as chips?
Yeah.
Oh my
I remember
God.
getting Six Shot. Seeing it on, like, they had two of them on the very high shelf. And he was like ridiculously. It was like 20 quid or something.
Oh my god.
Right.
That's dirty. That is disgustingly cheap.
Filth, isn't it?
It's
filth.
I hate it.
I know. Utter filth. I've still somewhere, I've still got the Weird Wolf, the Skull Cruncher. I don't have the Mind Wipe anymore, but I still have the Six Shot somewhere.
The closest I ever got in my childhood to Headmasters was the house across the road from where I'm still living. They had a kid, I think, called Christopher. He was like 5 years older than me or something like that. And I remember going around because he was 5 years older, so I thought he was so fucking cool.
Yeah, so cool, right?
Yeah. And he happened to have like a little washing basket that he put his toys into, and he had a messed up Ratchet. And I don't remember anything else in the basket, but I remember he had the Weird Wolf body, and I was so tempted to buy the Weird Wolf body. He didn't have the head, he didn't have the gun or the tail, but I remember being like, "This is Weird Wolf." I didn't know his name, but I was like, "This is the headmaster, and he's missing the head." And I didn't in the end, which is just as well, because what are they going to do without a head?
What are you going to do with it, right?
What are they going to do? It's just a wolf, but without his head or tail.
Or tail, right?
Yeah, but I knew from that point, like, man, I really like this. Nice, bright, poppy colors, everything like that.
It's the aesthetics, but it's also like, there's something in me, like I loved the notion of the two beings combining to become.
I love the
thing.
idea of it. Yeah, loved it.
I remember thinking in my head as a kid, like, how does that work? Like trying to work out, like, so when they fuse together, do the two personalities stay distinct, or do they like combine? Do they merge into one personality?
Yeah,
and that becoming like like a feature of the game. When you would make scenarios and games with your toys, that would become a feature of the scenarios that I would draw.
Yeah. Oh, the Japanese obviously went a bit more of a, you could argue, a more boring route where it's them but with a bigger body. It's
kind of more boring, to be honest. It is more boring.
It's a bit more boring, but fair enough. I preferred how, because again, I watched Rebirth. I like the idea of them working together. I'm not sure how you justified how they're better working together like that, but
yes, that's problematic, isn't it?
It sounds better than the actual process, I think, is how I describe it.
The other thing I really loved was the notion that the Nebulons or whatever they were like bioengineered, so they were changed to become, so they could transform. They were actually worked on so that they could transform. That's kind of cool.
Was that in the bios? Because that wasn't G1.
Yeah.
G1 was they were just wearing suits. That was in the bios.
That's
okay.
It. Yeah. So like in the bios, what actually happened was it was irreversible. The process was irreversible. They were actually like bioengineered to so their bodies could fold up, and also so they could mentally link with the Transformers.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Kind of cool, right?
Yeah. What would you like to start on first then with these? Because we didn't do Computron.
God.
There's Headmasters, Target Masters, Throttle Bots, the Double Spy, the clones,
should we
Monster
start really
Bots.
low? Should we start with the Throttle Bots?
I was thinking the Throttle Bots as well, to be honest.
Because they're don't get me wrong. They're the budget toys. You can't really have too much of a go at them. They're cute.
How much were these? Were they like £5 or something?
I don't even think they were that, to be honest. These guys were really like ridiculously cheap.
They were here's your toy, shut up kind of toy.
Yeah, exactly that. If
you have any?
These are the kind of toys where it was like, it wasn't a special occasion, and mum probably didn't have much money on her.
Yeah, definitely.
It was like, there you go, whatever, it's fine, trip to Nan's, whatever. Yeah, there, have that. I had none of these because they're Autobots.
That's
and
fair.
I'm not that bothered about Autobots. I certainly wouldn't have chosen them. If there was nothing else going, I might have sort of like grudgingly. No. And also, they're cars, and I'm just like, I just don't care about cars,
I get that. I had Chase, the red one, and I had Searchlight, the white one. I can't remember why I was bought them, but it was again probably to shut me up kind of deal. I always felt that they were better than the Battle Chargers. I preferred these to those two.
Yeah, I mean, they're cute. cute. I think they're. I don't want to rag on them too much because like they're good little budget toys, aren't they? They're kind of sturdy. They're fun to play with. They do the job.
The gimmick's fine, I guess.
It's okay.
It's fine. Yeah.
You know, they go. They move. It's great. You know.
That's the unfortunate problem with the throttle bots. They all transform the exact same way. They look almost all the same.
Pretty identical. Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been nice if there was maybe one other mold in here just to break it up.
That would have been nice. Just, you know, like the mini bots before, you know, where there were slight differences amongst them. That would have been fun. Yeah. But they're cute little things.
They've got a nice diverse color range as well. You've got every color under the sun, which is nice.
I don't particularly care about them, but they're cute.
No, yeah, I would agree. I think that's
and I know, like, even hardcore G1 collectors who don't care about them. So, well, you know.
It would be like if someone says, I don't like the decoys, and I'd be like, yeah, fair enough. Who does?
Fine. You know, why would you, you know?
The decoys, they're a thing. And
they're a thing. They exist, I suppose.
Thankfully, I don't know why in the catalog here they show Goldbug and I see gold plastic. Luckily, he's not made out of that gold plastic.
He's not. No, that's absolutely I don't know whether that's a prototype or something, but no. I mean, Goldbug is definitely the most interesting of them for me. Not because of the toy, but because of who he is. You know, the notion that it's Bumblebee rebuilt. That's kind of cool. I like that. But beyond that, fine, they're okay.
Yeah, I would agree. They're okay.
I would not care about them like in the slightest. They would. The only thing they would be used for if I had them as a kid would be as like fodder for a Decepticon, like they'd be in Scorponok's claws or something. You know,
actually, they'd fit quite well in Scorponok's claws. I think
they would.
Yeah,
wouldn't they
work
would.
well. Orange in chat says, "I love how the entire vehicle bottom becomes their feet." It's
an aesthetic, isn't it? You know, there is something kind of cool about that. Very retro. It's very toys of this era.
Yes,
I do kind of like that. I'll be honest.
Here's a question. I know you don't care too much about the throttle bots themselves, but at least from my perspective, I wouldn't say no to having like updated versions of these guys.
I think that'd be cool.
It'd be nice to see really Chase fun. And Wide Load and lesser Goldbug because we feels like Goldbugs and Bumblebees are interchangeable.
Yeah, Bumblebee, Goldbug. Let's put him aside for a little bit. Yeah.
Oddly enough, I think the last time we got the throttle bots was a third-party company when they made that. I don't know if you remember, but they made a combining throttle bot thing. So it was all the throttle bots, I think, apart from Goldbug, and they combined into a bigger robot, which was kind of
cute.
Yeah.
I can get that. No, that would be nice actually to see. You know, maybe some existing molds were just slightly remolded and repainted into these guys or something.
You could do it. I don't think they would.
Easily do it. I don't see why not. I mean, like they could rejig the Stunticon sets, couldn't they? To be like
fun.
If they wanted to. You know, that wouldn't take too much work. I shouldn't think.
I don't think Hasbro would do it purely on the basis that who remembers the throttle bots.
Exactly. Who remembers and of who cares.
I remember. Me. How about we talk about the next three, which were the Autobot monsters, the quote unquote fire breathers.
I like these guys.
They're great.
I'm a big fan. I like weird Autobots. You know, like there are not many Autobots that get me, but I like things like monsters. You know, like Dinobots, that kind of thing. That really interests me because aesthetically, you would, if you didn't know any better, you'd look at these guys and think Decepticon, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah. The only thing that gives them away being Autobots is the color scheme. Apart from Double Cross, who could be Decepticon, I suppose.
He could be either, couldn't he? You know? But yeah, you're absolutely right. They feel like Decepticons. They're aesthetically so weird. Like they're all so strange, particularly like Repugnus. He's so odd.
I think Grotesque is grotesque. Grotesque?
I think it's Grotesque. Is it Grotesque?
No, Grotesque, yeah. I think he's the weird one for me, and mistransformed here, and he doesn't have his wings in this image.
He doesn't. No, that's horribly mistransformed, actually, isn't it?
Super mistransformed.
Come on, Hasbro. You're trying to sell this thing. At least make it complete on the catalogue.
You'd hope so. I mean, we'll see a few other times, like Scorponok's not completely incorrect, but he's painted incorrectly. We'll get to that.
It's the prototype that they've got.
Yeah,
It's not the released model.
have you had any of these or owned them or fiddled with them in the past?
I haven't owned any of them, but I know people who have all of them, and so
Okay.
I have played with them definitely. I've handled and played with every single one of them, and they're lovely. They're really big, chunky, proper toys of this era.
Yeah.
Not much, not much articulation because they just didn't, did they?
No.
But it doesn't matter. They are so solid and so much fun to play with. I don't know if these guys were even released in the UK. I have a funny feeling they weren't,
I don't know.
But they are fun. I know if I'd had these, I'd have been happy. Any one of these, I'd have been happy because I like monsters. What can I say?
I'm trying to remember. Did Repugnus have those back bug wings? Because I can't remember if I have him or not. I don't think he had those, and I don't know if that's because he wasn't complete.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't think he had those wings.
Did he not? Is that like
don't think
something
so.
that didn't make it into the finished model?
I think that might be the case.
Wow.
Because I don't think I remember seeing any repugnuses.
Repugni. I like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen any of them in that robot mode with wings going behind the head.
Interesting.
If chat remembers, let me know, because I don't think they do. I think the only one I haven't handled at all is Double Cross. That's the only one.
He's actually, and funnily enough, I mean, I like him the best. Yeah. His arms, because of the transformation, are really articulated.
Oh,
he's almost like Proto Beast Wars because he does that thing of like the dragon heads becoming his hands.
Yeah.
Which is cute. That's kind of cool. His dragon mode is gorgeous. It's actually really, really good. And his bot mode is fine. It's kind of generic, but it works. It's coherent. He's a lovely, lovely toy. He is.
Do you think he could have done with a better color scheme or more interesting color scheme?
He's a bit dull in terms of color. He's a bit grayscale, isn't he? He's a bit monochrome.
What do you do? Because you can't make him red unless you change Repugnus's colors.
No, that's right. That's kind of the problem, isn't it?
Should they have changed Repugnus's colors to be more green based?
Maybe more in keeping with the others, because the other two have similar colors, but which are just in different variations.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So maybe to keep them coherent, he maybe could have had a little bit more of like the darker gray or a blue knocking about in him.
Maybe
somewhere.
the blue. Yeah. Maybe if he was primarily blue.
That might have worked, to keep him, because at the moment he actually looks slightly separate from the other two, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's only got, like you say, the red, and the white to hold him in there, but there's not enough of it to really like pull him in, I don't think.
But they're very cool, and I like them as characters as well because they're odd. There's a lot of Autobots from this era who have really strange bios where they're not classically Autobot, they're not heroic. There's something slightly off about them. And all three of these have that.
Was that a thing with the comic industry at the time as well, doing the anti-hero thing, I wonder?
I don't know. That may have been it, actually. That may have been it. But it's interesting because I kind of like that. I like the fact that they're introducing these characters amongst the heroic Autobots who are not, 100% on the level.
Yeah. Oh, since you got to handle Double Cross, with Grotesque and Repugnus, the sparks came out of their mouths, which made sense. Where did the sparks come out of from Double Cross? Did they come out from his hands?
I don't think they do. I don't think they do. I think they come out from his chest, if I remember correctly.
Oh, he had a hole in his chest.
Yeah, if I remember correctly. Anyway.
Okay.
And the thing is, these are they're some of those toys that have that old thing of the flint with the wheel.
Oh yeah.
And that wears down.
Yeah.
The more it's over time, it just wears down, so you can't use it. And I think the one I handled was like in the 2000s, so it was gone. It didn't work anyway. So
I remember the first toy I had with that gimmick was a Magneto toy.
Oh, was it Magneto?
Yeah. He had a hole in his chest and a thing on his back, and it was meant to be his magnetic powers.
Okay,
it was from
that's a stretch.
It was from that Toy Biz era, where every toy, they did hundreds of X-Men toys, and all of them had a gimmick of some description.
Yes, gimmick, and they were often like inappropriate for the character.
Yeah, or silly, like
or silly, yeah.
Like Apocalypse, you stretched his legs out, but then he had weird long poles for his legs. So like below the shin, you could stretch it. But because the leg didn't actually stretch, there was just a very thin pole, so it's almost like you flayed him down to the bone. It
yeah,
was
kind
weird.
of inappropriate for a character like Apocalypse, right?
Very annoying as well, considering how thin he was versus how big he was in the cartoon. Because I think he was based off of like the comic at that point, or a comic design, and he looked nothing like the cartoons design.
Right. So not
strange.
that sort of big, bulky,
No.
like threatening figure.
He was very slender. He looked like he'd been in his Egyptian prison for a while. And the Cyclops I had was him in his astonishing outfit. So he had the penis cap on his head, and he was blue, but with the big white X on him, with the white gloves and white shoes. And I was like, oh, that's not my Cyclops.
That ain't the one, is it?
No.
You want the hair, right?
I want the hair.
You want the hair visible.
Yeah, I wanted the hair, but no cigar.
Lots of blue and yellow, yeah.
Oh yeah, big strap for no reason.
Yeah.
Cartoon still holds up. That's a good cartoon still. Very good.
Oh, what, X-Men?
Yeah.
The 1990s one. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, still shocking.
The 1990s one is shockingly good. The stuff it talks about.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff it dares to broach and the way it dares to broach it is
it's good
phenomenal.
until it's not, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's the season, is it 4 or 5 where it falls off the edge?
A little bit later, something like that.
It's where they get like the new animation studio in, isn't it? And everything goes blobby and weird and doesn't really work.
Its edge in a lot of ways.
It does.
It's a real shame.
All the character designs go off, don't they? They go off piece, you know. And suddenly, Apocalypse isn't really scary anymore, and you get in these weird stories where it's talking about like you get like adaptations of fairy tales in the X-Men universe, and it's like what?
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's a shame. Anyway.
Yeah, no, sorry, we got off on a small tangent there, I suppose. But yeah,
I will happily do a whole podcast about the 1990s X-Men cartoon.
I could easily as well. It's so good. I mean, the Autobot Monster Bots. Luckily, they've had, I'd say, pretty decent reimaginings as well.
They have. I mean, I think all of them have been done, haven't they?
Yeah,
like in various different forms, and they're good. They're really, really nice toys.
The only problem with those releases were they were limited.
Yes.
Like Double Cross was a main release, and I think Repugnus and Grotesque were both like online
limited
exclusives or something, and it was a pain.
That's annoying.
And you couldn't buy them unless you wanted to spend way too much on them, and it was a pain. Yeah.
That's really a shame. Annoying. It's an odd thing to do for these characters as well, because they are niche, aren't they? They're not like widely remembered.
That's probably why they did it, because it was like, I'm guessing Double Cross didn't do the sales and they went screwed. The other ones
that's probably true.
Go swivel, I guess, unfortunately. And it's a shame because they look great. They still look great. Yeah. These figures are, like you said, really big and fun and chunky even now.
They're some of the few Autobots I know as a kid I'd have been very happy with. I'd have been very happy.
What do you think Grotesque is?
Grotesque, he's like a saber-toothed tiger kind of thing with wings.
I always saw him as a beaver. I'm sorry.
Yes, it'd be great if he had like the tail. That'd be ace.
That was it. I totally get he does have the saber-toothed tiger tusks, but I think they're too far forward and almost too close together. For me, he'll always look like a giant angry beaver, and I think that makes him more fun.
That's more fun, definitely. I don't think there's ever been an Autobot, or in fact a Transformer that turns into a beaver. Not even a Beast Wars one.
No, not even in the weird line where they transformed into two animals, which is probably the only place that it would happen, right?
Probably, yeah. But very surprising, actually. That would work well.
I would have thought
I can definitely see it in one of the Japanese lines. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's a shame they didn't go out. I mean, they did the Penguin, so...
They did the Penguin. They did Break.
Yeah, exactly. I guess the next two, or one, I suppose, might be a bit strange. The Autobot clones. I like the idea in a sense of them. I think the Decepticons did a lot better.
Yeah, totally. I mean, to be honest, that's almost like redundant for this era, because it's true across the board. Like, flip this catalogue around and all of the Decepticon equivalents are better.
I'm trying to think if that's not true, and I'm like,
it's pretty true.
Maybe some of the Target Masters, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I know. But the Autobot clones, we have Fastlane and Cloudraker. One turns into a, in quotations, F1 car. Maybe.
No, it doesn't.
No. The other one turns into a plane.
No, it doesn't. They're fine. They're fun. They're kind of like the pretender robots from the.
They're definitely the prelude to that. It feels
They
like
are,
it.
aren't they? Those big, lanky, like first generation pretender robots that don't really turn into anything.
No, these feel a bit more convincing than them, but that's not saying a huge amount.
It's not.
They have a few more parts so they can just push it a little bit closer.
Few more. I mean, I love the notion of a more or less identical robot turning into two disparate forms. I think that's really quite fun, actually, and clever. Yeah. But again, I had Wingspan and Pounce when I was a kid. Again, from this bloody store that had the.
Oh man,
yeah, that's where
So they were £10 or something, or 20 quid back then. Something
back
crazy.
Then it probably wasn't. Could have even been cheaper than that, back then. But they were gorgeous, particularly Wingspan. I love Wingspan to absolute bits. Oh, yeah. And I don't know whether it's just my personal aesthetic, because first of all, they're Decepticons and therefore they win de facto. But also they're purple and pink and blue and turquoise, and that kind of, it's better than this grey and red for me.
Yeah, I think again that's the problem. It is just grey and red. And it doesn't help that they're on a red background as well. I mean,
yes.
they look better in person in a way, but they're doing
I think the media understood this as well. The media understood this because, like, in Headmasters, or most of these characters get like a little scene where they're introduced, so that kids will go, I want that. These guys, they're like in. Optimus Prime talks to them once in one passing scene, and they're both very annoying, and that's it.
Roger Dodge Optimus Prime.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
Pounce and Wingspan didn't get much more, but they did something.
They do something.
Yeah,
they actually do something, and they do cool stuff. I mean, like, they break into Autobot City, they get the key to Vector Sigma. Yep. Pounce ends up like really clouncing Counterpunch over there.
Yeah, that's right.
So they do stuff, okay, they disappear after that scene, as a lot of the characters do. But all right. They've got something to do.
I had these guys before I had Pounce and Wingspan, and it was Pounce and Wingspan I wanted, but these guys came up on eBay around whenever I picked them up, and I was like, yeah, I'll get them because I want them. And I got them, and I was like, they're fine. They're fine. They're fine.
Okay. They're okay. They do the job. I'd probably quite like them as a kid, to be honest. I probably played with them a lot because they are kind. For that funness of them being twins, I think there's something quite cool about that.
I think there's some interesting play patterns you can do with them, like you say, being the same and being twins, and you can have a fun little rivalry, I suppose, between the two of them. But one that was much better, I would say. I'd say he's a winner. He's definitely a winner. Double Spy, punch, counter punch.
Very clever concept, right?
Great execution.
Very clever concept.
Very good, especially for the era where you don't have parts and you don't have a huge amount of engineering. You have two very distinct, different robot modes. One
it's very clever.
They haven't flipped his feet down though in the image, which is annoying me. They're there, but they don't flip down. Come on,
right. Yeah. But no, it's really clever. It's really clever. Punch and counter punch, right? Mm-hmm. And I like him as a character too. I really like him as a character because
they refuse to go too far. At least they have refused to go too far and explore what it means to be a double agent. They've only done it really briefly, and I think you could do a really interesting story with him.
Oh, and he's got the whole Jekyll and Hyde thing going on, hasn't he? So he's been so deep undercover as Counterpunch amongst the Decepticons that he's kind of becoming Counterpunch.
You could do
that's lovely.
Oh, what's the? Is it the game with Michael Douglas? Do you know the movie where Michael Douglas is a rich lawyer or something, and his brother, for his birthday, sets him up in a game.
That's the one. Yeah.
That concept, I think you could do something like that with punch counter punch.
Oh,
is this reality? Is it not reality? Is it all a joke? But obviously, it's
where he has like lost time. You have Punch coming conscious and not realizing what he's done, or trying to hide the fact as well from his superiors. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can play with here. He's a great character. I mean, he's a great, interesting character, and again, one of those ones introduced in this era that has this weird, like, ambiguity built in, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Even in the small amount that we saw in the show, There's an interesting. The only thing I guess I don't like about this original figure is I think the faces look a little bit weird. They don't look great. I think they're better realized in animation and in future versions.
The other toys that have come out since, definitely.
But it's not even like the fact that I don't like the gimmick. The gimmick of the head just flipping back and forth. That's fine. I think it's just more the molding on the face, which is a bit
But he's a very interesting, ambitious toy, isn't he, from this era?
Yeah, and I love the car mode. The car mode, again, really, really 80s.
It's very
80s.
Solid, and it's chunky.
Yeah, it all sticks together.
Which I like.
And like I said, I think it's good that you, for the most part, if you just look at them, you think they're two separate robots. They don't look the same.
Mm-hmm. Was he released in this country? I honestly don't know.
Not.
Probably
I don't know
not.
either.
A lot of them from this era weren't. A lot of them weren't.
Yeah, because it was just dying, like Transformers at that point, at least for us. They just went, it's fine. Well, I assume. But yeah,
what a shame.
Punch Counterpunch, he's
a winner. He's an absolute winner and hard to get these days.
I'm glad
this one. Yeah, he's hard to get.
I'm pretty sure the Generations one's pretty hard as well because he was limited release as well, wasn't he? Online only.
Yes. And what was he? He was remolded from a was it Sunstreaker Sideswipe mold?
I think he was entirely new.
Was he entirely new?
I think he was entirely new.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Because he had the backward shoulders where the cars went completely off the back of his shoulders. I think he was new. I remember Dave had him, but I can't remember where or how he got him, apart from the internet.
I managed to procure him.
Yeah, he got it through illicit means, I'm sure. Who's next on the list? I guess we could do. Did we talk about? We didn't talk about the Technobots, did we? So the Technobots.
We didn't. No, I mean, actually, you know how I said earlier that like all of the equivalents in the Decepticons are better. Actually, this is probably the one instance where it's not true.
I've never had the Technobots, so I don't know too much on them.
They're not great. They're not great, but they're okay. They're better than the Terracons, which are their Decepticon equivalents. The Terracons are a bit shit. Let's be honest.
When you say they're shit, in what sense do you mean they're shit?
I mean in the sense that like the robots are awful.
The robots are awful, but the monsters I like the monsters a lot.
The monsters are generally fine. I mean, Blot's kind of problematic. He doesn't really turn into anything.
He turns into a rectangle. With little arms, and
Yes, he does. I think he's sometimes called an ogre mode or a troll mode or something.
It doesn't look like anything.
These guys are not bad. They're pretty coherent in both modes. The Scattershot is amazing, actually.
In terms of
Scattershot is. Yeah, he is a really cool toy. He's a triple changer for one thing, which is he's very cool. He's got like a
cannon mode.
It's like a cannon emplacement. Like the nose cone of the jet opens up and he stands and there's like little tank treads and so he can move. Right. And it's kind of cool. And the combined mode Computron is all right. It's fine as the Scramble City combiners go. It's fine.
It looks really coherent. It looks like it's very solid. And like it's very filled out in all the places where, some combiners are a little bit lacking. It looks like it's filled out nicely. From what I've seen of images and
he is good. He is good. I mean, I'm always thinking of our mutual friend Ray Corrin's collection because he's got all of these. He's got everything.
You need to bully that boy to come back and do some YouTube stuff.
He's not interested. He doesn't want to.
I know he should do.
He doesn't want to. I'm afraid he's very good. He's very good, but he doesn't want to.
It's a shame.
But no, they're kind of fun toys. The individual bots, again, they're Scramble City Combiner limbs, so they're not going to be that incredible. But as they go, they're fine.
What do you think of them as design concepts for future vehicles? Because I think for future vehicles, the only one that I don't really like is Lightspeed because he's just a car.
He's just a car.
Everything else are pretty fun.
Yeah, I can get behind them. I can definitely get behind them. They all have a function to perform. I think the cleverest one is probably the motorbike. I think that actually works really well.
In terms of how it looks visually, or like how it transforms.
But also how it transforms as well. It's a nifty little figure, that is.
How would like in terms of because again you've fiddled with all of these. Do these have the maybe not issue, but the thing that sometimes happens with the Scramble City Combiners, where all of the limbs transform in the same way? Do these do that, or are they a bit more unique?
Actually, not. These guys are relatively unique in how they transform. They're not complex. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
the strafe, you literally just that and flip the wings out, and that's pretty much it. You put the guns in the front, and that's pretty much it. He's so easy to transform. But no, they're all reasonably different from one another, certainly in comparison to, again, you know, the Terracons are kind of all the same. They kind of all transform
You flip
in the same
head
way.
up and you pull the legs down and you're done. That's it. That's like,
pretty much done, yeah. I like these guys, and I like the notion as well. I like the concept of them being like, you know, these hyper-futuristic transformers. There's a lot you could have played with there. They could have been transformers from the future or something like that. That could have been fun. They never do that, obviously. And in most of the media of the era, they just become like, you know, fodder. They're just cannon fodder.
We fight the big thing because they've got the big thing, and it's fun.
Exactly.
It's like, okay.
Exactly that. Yeah, the
Technobots
in the fun episode of the cartoon.
I was going to say they came really late into the series, I suppose. So
Very late.
And I guess because they came for the toy line now, that's probably why they didn't get much time in the show.
Yeah, it's probably so. And at least they got an origin story, right? The Terracons just turn up.
Yeah. In the same episode as well.
In the same episode, they're just
there.
There.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, you know,
why not? Yeah,
fair enough. Why not?
Why not? Orange goes. The IDW Comics and Bayformers Dinobots have head cannoning G1 Strafe as gaining 2-headed Dino mode and joining his dad's team. Oh.
That's kind of cute.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I like that.
That's quite fun.
Yeah, that's cute. I like that a lot, actually. I think that's really fun.
Oh, is that what the basis for the Robots in Disguise 2015 Twinferno is? Because there's a one that has the double fire dragon heads. Is that meant to be a reference to that? Because that's quite fun. If that's the case. That's neat. Yeah,
could be. That's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of course, Strafe, bizarrely, Strafe has had there are figures of Strafe, recolors. Like the Cyclonus mold was recolored as him, wasn't it, at one point?
Oh, well, that was the Shattered Glass version, wasn't it? Where it's Cyclonus, but he's orange. Well, I think that was meant to be a Rodimus reference for some reason.
Was it? Really weird, really strange, and an odd character to pick, right?
Shattered Glass, you know, it's just slap somebody else's color scheme on. Who cares? That's how it always felt with Shattered Glass.
Yeah, right.
Would you prefer to cover Headmasters or Target Masters first?
Should we do the Target Masters first and move on to the Headmasters after?
Right.
The Autobot Target Masters.
Well, I mean, there's Hot Rod, there's Cup and Blur, and it's just them, but with a bigger hole in their hand.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it? And it's fine. I mean, I always preferred the Target Master versions because they had an extra thing. You know, they had an extra thing. The vehicles with the guns in do not work. They look silly.
I think it works with Cup because he has a thing in the back.
Yeah, because it's in the back. That works fine. The other two, it's like, that ain't aerodynamic. That ain't going to move very fast.
Well, I mean, it's usually covering up the front window screen as well. Not that it matters, but it does look weird. Luckily, the Autobot Target Masters, at least two of them, apart from Sure Shot, they're on top of the car, which is better.
It's okay, you know, it's fine, and they're okay figures. These guys, they're not amazing.
No,
they're not amazing by any stretch.
My issue with them is that Crosshairs and Point Blank are too close color scheme wise. They're both blue. One's light blue, one's dark blue, and they're both red.
And they both transform in pretty much the same way because they're you know, they turn into cars. You know.
No, there is a difference to their transformation.
Oh, is there? Are they significantly different?
Yes, yeah. I mean, you can tell by how they look that which one's which. I think Crosshairs is the light blue one. He's got the shoulders going out to the sides.
The wings, yeah.
Yeah. I think those arms tuck up underneath him a little bit more, and his legs just kind of enclose on themselves, like you would suspect. You know, you just flip them up.
Yeah.
And you flip the front of the car mode up, and the two shoulders kind of clip around there, rather than with Point Blank, where it's just you kind of push them up. Oh, maybe they do. Maybe they do transform in a similar way. I don't think it feels like they do. But I guess they do in a sense. No, you're right. The more that I'm talking about it, yeah, the legs
more
are
you're convincing
different.
yourself, yeah.
Yeah, the legs are different because they kind of like the legs on Point Blank. They kind of like knee tuck up to their chest, and the legs on Crosshairs is a little bit different. But no,
I think the only one of these I ever had actually as a kid was Sure Shot, because I got him from a secondhand toy store in Derby, which
Complete?
is long gone now. Yeah,
Wow.
he was complete, and he cost next to nothing. He cost like pennies.
I mean, the fact that he had his Target Master, I find shocking because, like, as a kid, those are the bits that you lose.
And it's the bit that you never get right.
No,
It's never with.
no.
In fact, I got him, and I got Trigger Happy as well, and he was complete as well.
Oh my god!
I know,
my God, George.
crazy, right? Crazy stuff. It's a stall that was in the Eagle Market Centre. It was called Keith's because that was the guy who ran it, and this was again pre-eBay, pre-internet.
Yeah.
So it was the only place you could get these toys. Doesn't exist anymore, obviously,
Jeez.
sadly. Yeah, lots of happy memories of that.
I'm not
But
surprised.
he's a decent toy. He doesn't do much in like his robot mode. There's almost zero articulation, and it's all related to the transformation. It's all related to the transformation.
That's Transformers, though, isn't it? Of the 80s. Yeah, that's what you
definitely
expect. I like Sure Shot the best because he's nice, bright in yellow, and I like his car mode. It's pretty fun as well.
I like that bit of his transformation where the hood comes down.
Oh,
you know, where you pull and it stretches. I always liked that. I always found that like an interesting little like notch of transformation that you didn't often see.
I'm trying to think. It's almost the same idea that they have with Springer, because you know when you get Springer's top half and you pull it back.
That's it.
Yeah, there's something satisfying about elongating and shrinking parts
Definitely.
like that. I don't know what it is, but it feels good. And the Target Master themselves, I think some of them range from, well, you just fold the legs back to, there's 2 steps, and they're a little bit more interesting. It's like,
they're fine, aren't they? You know, I think they're more interesting conceptually than in like actual execution.
Yes, I will say this. I think the Autobot Target Masters themselves, not the big robots, but the Target Masters are 1,000 times better than the Decepticon ones.
Yes,
because they don't destroy themselves.
It's really interesting. Like, I think the actual toys, the Decepticons are better, but the Target Masters, like Blowpipe, Trigger Happy's one, where it just cheats, where you've got to take the gun off the back.
Well, I wouldn't even say that's the problem. I would say like Misfire, he doesn't have a pin running through his hips. He's on like these clips, and if you the clips will explode. They look like they will die in time. It's I don't understand why those are on clips, but these were clearly all made on pins.
It's such a strange concept, isn't it? I mean, I don't know why there's not
the
that.
Same.
Right. It's odd. It's very
bizarre.
Peculiar. I'm very happy that all of these guys have been re-released. Like, I mean, rather there's new toys of them in later lines that are just a million times better. You know,
not Sure Shot.
Not Sure Shot. No, Sure Shot. Why? That's really strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's really peculiar. Why not Sure Shot?
Yeah, he's the only one at the moment we haven't got a new figure for yet.
How peculiar.
I know. And to be fair, it took a while to get a new Crosshairs, and the Crosshairs is, I hear crap from many people, but
so I understand.
He did come out, and it was a big jump because Point Blank was War for Cybertron Siege, I think.
Oh, really? Oh, yes, that's right.
Because he was out of the Ironhide mold.
That's right. So, like, a big gap between them. So the Autobots have really got short shrift this time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Because the Decepticons were all released more or less in one line, weren't they?
Yeah, they were Titans Return.
Titans Return, that's right, yeah. So,
and some people complain because they were Headmasters. I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine. They came from the same era, so who cares?
Yeah, and the Headmasters are better, so...
I would say so. Yeah, because if you got the Japanese ones, you got 2. You got the gun and you got the Headmaster component as well.
Of course, right?
They were painted way better.
Yeah.
Way better. Disgustingly better. I've got the American Trigger Happy, and the other 2 are the Japanese version, and he looks crap compared to the Japanese ones.
To them.
Bless him.
Yeah. It's such a shame.
Orange says a new Sure Shot has been leaked for the last year of Legacy. Yeah, that's true. We do have a Sure Shot coming. But
what a gap, right?
Massive.
There's going to be such a difference between these toys.
The wonder is, I assume he'll have to be his own mold.
Yeah, I can't think offhand of anything he could be derived from.
Only like Sandstorm, and they're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that.
Because Sandstorm's
no.
the leader, I think.
Yeah, he's too big, isn't he?
Way
It's way
too
too big.
Way too big. So he'd have to be his own mold. I'm hoping he's better than Point Blank. Oh, sorry, Crosshairs.
Poor Autobot Target Masters, though.
Yeah, don't matter though.
I always felt sorry for these guys in universe as well. Like the Decepticons are jets.
Yeah.
In any real scenario, a car ain't winning anything against a jet.
Looks cool though. They've got flames on them.
They got flames on them,
Yeah, it makes you go faster. The orc mentality. The Autobot headmasters, the headmasters themselves.
Yeah.
I own 2. I am missing 2.
I like the characters more than I like the toys. I'll be honest. I think the toys are a bit questionable, especially in comparison to the Decepticon ones, the equivalents, which are just awesome.
Well, the 2 I have are Hardhead and Chrome Dome, and from the looks of things, the 2 worst, I'd say Chrome Dome's the worst. I don't have the other 2, but he feels like the worst.
Chrome Dome's pretty crap.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. He's not great.
He transforms really similar to Hardhead. There's only a few steps different from Hardhead. Hardhead is better, but not by much, unfortunately.
Chrome Dome's also one of those weird toys of the era that doesn't have hands.
No, he's just got holes.
Just pegs in the ends of his arms. And he's dumpy and weird looking.
It's because he barely transforms. He
transforms
about as much as the clones.
It's true. He's got there's very little to him.
Yeah. Yeah, you just fold the legs down, you bring the backpack down, and you strain the arms out and put the head on. That's it. He's done.
There is not a great deal going on with Chrome Dome. I like what's been done with the character in latter years in the comics and whatnot.
It's because something's been done with him.
Right. But beyond that, I mean, the toys, these guys, I mean, I know, I said that Ray has almost all of these. He doesn't have the Autobot headmasters.
Oh, really?
And the reason he doesn't have them, barring Fort Max, he's got Fort Max.
Oh.
But the reason he doesn't have them, he says, because he doesn't like them. He's not interested.
None of them?
Nope.
Wow.
Not interested at all.
See, I like the look of Brainstorm. I've never had it, but I think Brainstorm has an interesting looking vehicle mode, and the transformation looks
decent.
All right.
Brainstorm's okay. Highbrow's not great. Highbrow's really not great. The way that the legs come down and they stay in like one solid piece, it's like woof.
Is it that you just kind of twist them at the waist and then you push the legs down or up or down depending on robot mode?
I think they just come down. Just like that, and it's not great. It's not great.
I think the helicopter mode's
it's
pretty
fine.
Good. I think that it looks nice.
Fine.
I like double propellered helicopters. It's nice blue.
Again, he's another Autobot from this era that's a bit of an arsehole as well, which I kind of like.
Fiction-wise, you mean?
Yes, he's a pompous ass, apparently. He's like, nobody likes him. Nobody likes him. And there's a bit of rivalry between him and Brainstorm, because Brainstorm is just smarter than he is and more affable, apparently.
Yeah, I could believe it. Yeah, the Autobot headmasters are disappointing. These were the first headmasters I got. I think Chrome Dome was the first one, because again, it was one of those early eBay listings, and I went, "Oh, it's cheap, go for it." And I'm glad I didn't stop with these. I'm glad I went on and made sure I got the Decepticon ones.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it may be just bias. I don't know, but I just feel as though the Decepticons are way more interesting.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know why these feel like vanilla ice cream.
Yes, it's that, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all right.
There's nothing like, you wouldn't complain if you got one.
No.
It's fine.
No.
You'd play with it, but you'd want Mind Wipe, wouldn't you? You'd want the bat. You'd want the alligator or the wolf.
Well, I'll tell you, the second headmaster I ever got was Ape Face for £30 complete, and I was like, what an eBay steal! And I was like, this is way better. I looked at Chrome Dome and went,
right?
what happened?
Jesus, yeah, Ape Face. I mean, Ape Face. People complain about that too. I'm like, it's genius.
It's got some like proportion issues, but it's a G1 figure.
But it's a G1 figure. I mean, like, given that, I think they've done an amazing job with it.
I don't think he's as good as Snapdragon. Well, I mean, we'll talk about it when we get to them. But
Yeah, Snapdragon is
so
just
good.
a gorgeous toy.
It
Love him.
feels so good in hand as well.
Yeah,
So good in
chunky.
hand. Yeah.
Chunky, big as all get out, you know? Lovely toy.
Oh, funny thing about the thing. What is wrong about the Autobot headmasters in this catalog? Do you notice, George?
Oh, let me see if I can.
What is wrong?
Oh, the headmasters aren't correct.
That's right.
The headmasters aren't correct. So, like, Hardhead has got Arcana, I think.
Yes, and
Brainstorm has
the other one.
Duros. Is it
I think
Duros
so.
who's with Hardhead?
It's something like that. I just noticed the colors and went, hang on. That doesn't look right.
that isn't going to be a good pairing.
No, they got the other two right, but and
yeah,
even on
the other two are fine.
Even on the combined robot mode, they've got the right heads, but for these two,
that is going to be a bad pairing for both of them, I can tell you.
Not the best. Orange says Siege Crosshairs wasn't even a big wheel. No, he wasn't. Needs a new update. I always feel gypped when a Transformer who had a unique look and style and vehicle mode just gets a repaint. I always get really frustrated by it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you make a new figure for Bumblebee every fucking time.
Right. And how much can you do with that bloody design? It's just so limited, you know?
And you won't do you won't do the Aqua Force, the Stormtroopers. Do the Stormtroopers, give them all unique molds. Push them.
Yeah.
Do something with all these unique characters that you've got in the pocket.
Fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can write any character for them as well, because who cares?
I mean,
even in the show.
We've spoken about it before, but I fully believe like what they should be doing at this point is moving on from this G1 aesthetic. They should be moving on a little bit.
Well, I think you can stick with G1. You just need to not stick with just the characters we always get. Do the weird ones.
Do something different. Yeah, do something. Or even like let's see something new.
I mean, we get that with Earthspark, but they don't put the budget into it for the toy line.
No, they don't. Not for the toy line, unfortunately, which is a real shame.
The nice thing with Legacy is there is no G1 in the new Legacy wave coming up, which is quite nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That is nice, I've got to say.
Yeah, but, still a
Tiger Hawk, right?
Yeah.
Tiger Hawk.
Yeah.
Oof. Yes, please.
Wait, and you might be able to get a Razor Claw as well.
Yes. Nice. Oh, my God. I mean, surely, right? Surely that. I mean, it licensed to print money, right?
The only reason I'd say they wouldn't do it is because repainting a leader and making it an online exclusive Generation Select, maybe they wouldn't. I'd like it.
Yeah. Are they? I mean, I have no idea because I don't keep up with it as much as I used to. But are they ever going to do like a Rampage, like a Beast Wars Rampage?
They haven't talked about it. They should.
What a shame.
Yeah, they haven't done anything Transmetal related apart from Transmetal 2 Megatron and Tiger Hawk. I don't think they haven't really gone too far into the Transmetal stuff, unfortunately. I think you're more likely to see Transart do theirs first. Do you know Transart?
Yeah.
You do know. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll do it before Hasbro will, to be honest.
Before Hasbro do it, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Well, I've got their Transmetal Tarantulas on the route, so I'm hoping
that
it looks
so good.
It looks so good.
It looks so good. I mean, Transmetal Tarantulas is one of my favorite Transformers ever.
That's why I had to get it. Like Transmetal 2 Cheetor, I skipped. I was like, Transmetal 2 Black Arachnia, I'll skip her. And Transmetal 2, Transmetal Black Tarantulas, I couldn't say no.
Right.
I have to get Transmetal 2 Dinobot as well, because that's been prototyped. And when that comes out, we haven't seen colored images of him, but we've seen him in prototype form. And I'm going to have to get that. Oh, he looks... I mean, he's a CGI prototype, so it's hard to tell. But it's probably going to be better than the original.
Yeah.
And the original's fun, but it's...
The original's a good fun. I like it, It's flawed.
Not the best. Yeah,
no,
that's why
it's flawed. It's flawed, but...
That's why a new one would be kind of fun. That's why I want it.
Yeah, I would love to see I would love to see a new one, definitely.
Orange says paint versus vac metal. What do you think? Do you prefer painted or do you prefer vac metal? Because vac metal is, a bit, can be risky.
Vac metal, it looks great. It looks amazing when it's new.
Yeah. It can be done well even when it's old. I think it depends on the quality, because I've got Goldran, a Brave robot from the late 90s after Transformers was done, and he's all chrome, vac plated, and he's fine.
He's okay, yeah?
Yeah, but obviously you've had a lot of the Transmetal 2 creatures and, Transketor, Jawbreaker, all really cool figures. Most of them you see on eBay are just like, they're like an old man. They're losing most of their hair.
One of my favorite Scourge, Transmetal 2 Scourge.
Oh, so good.
He's beautiful, but you cannot get one with good Transmetal paint. No. You can't. No, it flakes off when you touch it. Just when you touch it.
Yeah, it's a real problem. I think I wonder, because you can get metallic chrome paint these days from like Green Stuff World, I wonder if you can get the colors to match up with that.
Oh, maybe you could. You could. I mean, personally, I would just go down the route of Transmetal 2 Megatron. Just call it Transmetal and do fun stuff with the color scheme. It looks great. I mean, that toy is probably one of the best Transformers released in years. It's incredible. It's just stunning. He's
a lot of fun. I mean, I've got him now, thankfully, and I was surprised how good he is. There are aspects to him which I wish were a little better. Like I wish his head connected onto his neck, I suppose, a little bit tighter, or there were a few more pegs that slapped that in. Otherwise, I'm like,
but otherwise, my God, is he just like wow?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And Armada Megatron, if you buy the third-party upgrade kit to give him proper shoulders, is really good as well.
Yeah.
You need to buy the... I hated that figure until I got the third-party upgrade kit.
Until you got the upgrade, yeah.
Yeah, just to give him shoulder movement, because I was just annoyed. It was just like it would be like having legs but no hip joints. It's like, well, they're there. Like the original toy, I suppose, with Armada Megatron. He didn't have hips either.
It's faithful, I suppose.
But what about Fort Max, George?
Well, yeah, Fort Max. I mean, like, I never saw one of these, obviously, when I was a kid. Never saw one. Most of us didn't, did we? Let's be honest.
Well, you said they might not have came to the UK.
It didn't. Fort Max did not. Fort Max. I think there was, if I remember reading correctly, the only time it came to the UK was in like a very rare competitions in magazines and things like that. Yeah, that's the only time.
It might not have even came. It might have been those companies buying one from America and just having it, I guess.
I think that was it.
That sucks.
The only time, the first time I saw one of these was in the mid 2000s, and it was Ray's. It was Ray Currens.
Was it actually Fort Max or was it Brave Max?
Oh no, he had both. He's got all of them. He's got all of the Fort Max molds. Every single one.
He's got
Grand Max.
Oh damn! All right, he went all in.
Jeez. He's got them all, yeah. And it's very impressive. I mean, it is the scale of the damn thing, for one thing. It's just, you cannot not be impressed by it because it's gigantic.
Here's a question. Do you think it's more impressive than the current day Titans? Because I think in some ways it still is, because it's got such a squared presence to it.
Part of it as well is the fact that the modes actually are meaningful. I mean, the base mode, okay, it has some issues, but the city mode is really, really good and coherent. It's way better than the Titan equivalent.
Yes, because it looks like a city, or an equivalent of a city. It looks like something.
It looks like something. The Titan Fort Max, the bot mode, great, really good. The other modes are not anything.
I'd even say that the bot mode's not great because it's. I've said this before a few episodes ago. It's because it's based off of the
Metroplex. Isn't it?
That's the one, and it's it's crap. That mold's crap. It's a crap mold.
It's not my favorite. I mean, Scorponok's great. The Titan Scorponok is phenomenal. I love that toy, but the Autobots tend to get short shrift with the Titans. I find, apart from the Ark. The Ark is like, wow.
I hear that the Nemesis is better.
Is it? I haven't had a chance to fiddle with the Nemesis yet, but I have fiddled with the Ark again, Rays, and it's really. I mean, like, wow.
I don't like the fact that it's got big gaps in the Ark.
He does. That's true.
That's something
he does.
I'm not a bit, especially the amount of money that you have to pay for it. That's something I'm like, It looked okay, but I think the Nemesis looks better. Oh, so Ray's getting the Nemesis, presumably.
Oh, yeah, of course he is.
So you'll be able to have a look at her when you at some point.
Yes.
No, that's okay.
And if it's sufficiently impressive, I might even pick one up because I love the idea. I love the idea of the Nemesis. I think the ship is ace. I mean, I love that spaceship. It might be one of, one I pick up as a display piece or something. One of
Okay.
those rare bots I actually pick up these days.
It'll take up a lot of room as well because she's a big girl.
She's a big one, ain't she?
Yeah, she's big.
She's a proper big one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see an Arc repaint at some point.
I'm
That'd be cool.
it'd be nice. I'd prefer them to do a new Fort Max, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
would-
Fort Max and Metroplex and all that jazz. That's what I think most people would prefer. But the next one's Tidal Wave. That's the next.
Yeah, which very
Yeah.
ambitious for a Titan figure. He does a lot of stuff, doesn't he? So
Yeah. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how he works. It might be the first Titan figure I pick up because I just avoid them most of the time. But it's like, I don't know. Orange says Tidal Wave might change my mind, but the other than a couple of exceptions, modern Titans have been pretty underwhelming. I would agree.
Yeah, agreed.
For the price,
Agreed.
especially
I
for
like
the price.
I like Trypticon.
Trypticons are better, I would say. I think I even think that Omega Supreme didn't look too bad. Not to the point where I wanted one because it's Omega Supreme. But it was all right.
Yeah.
But Fort Max, G1 Fort Max, hell of a figure. Very impressive.
Really impressive. I mean, like weighty as all get out.
So heavy.
The amount of guns on the damn thing. I mean, it's ridiculous. This is the other thing I love. Fort Max is a great character. He's a great character. He's the ultimate Autobot weapon. I mean, like there is nothing equivalent to him.
Yeah.
He's the WMD, right? He is like the apocalypse, this guy. He's a pacifist. I love that. I absolutely friggin' love that. I mean, part in the comics, certainly part of the reason that like they go to Nebulos is because he buggers off. Him and the Autobots leave. They leave Cybertron because he just can't handle it anymore.
It's a useful writing convenience that the ultimate weapon is a pacifist as well.
Yes,
rather than
right. Isn't it just? Because you know what? They up until IDW, the IDW actually did stuff with the Titans that made them interesting. The big Transformers. Agreed. Up until that point, none of the media could work with them.
You don't know what to do with them, do you? What do you do?
Of course you don't. I mean, like, how can you possibly have these like these? I mean, the normal Transformers are gigantic. How can you possibly have these Titans, these like almost like godlike figures brawling across the face of the earth, right?
Yeah. It's hard to conceive like how you write that and don't have them just win, because whoever like wins the bout just wins the war at that point. Like, what
just wins the war. Yeah, it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
How do you fight a city? Yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean, the cartoon, apart from the episodes that feature them, just ignores them. Completely ignores them.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
like
they do that with a lot of characters. In fairness,
they do.
If Omega Supreme isn't, I mean, does he die in the movie?
Right.
Maybe.
And of course, like in the season that he features, why doesn't Prime just say, Omega, go and kill all the Decepticons?
Omega gets very tired.
Go and step on them all, because that's all you have to do.
He runs out of fuel very quickly. Very quickly. He's not a hybrid, you know.
It's always an excuse, isn't there? I mean, it's again like even earlier than that. The Constructicons as Devastator, right? Devastator, go destroy the Autobots. Just go do it. Yeah.
And they do get the Dinobots fairly quickly.
They
kind of balance it out, which I guess is the quote unquote counter to it.
It's
yeah. What do you think of the prototype for Metroplex here? Because there's quite a few differences I can see. Like his shoulder is not green clear plastic; it's just translucent plastic. The bit under the flap under his chin, it looks like it's white rather than grey.
Yeah, he looks a bit different, doesn't he? He looks markedly different.
His penis twiddly stuff is colored white rather than red, which hides it a little bit better, I would say.
Doesn't it?
And it looks like the guns around the abdomen don't swing out, but they push in and out.
Yeah, it looks a bit different. Like the way it works looks slightly different.
Oh, and the biceps are colored white as well, rather than just being blue.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite interesting. An odd one. Yeah. Do you prefer it? Because I think the white biceps are nice. I like the green shoulder, but I don't need the white bit on the top there. I think the gun swinging out rather than pushing in and out is a bit better.
It's probably a better function
smoother.
for them. Yeah,
Yeah,
honest,
all that jazz.
But it's interesting that you've got Metroplex on the same page as Fort Max, because Fort Max is kind of like the upgrade, right?
Oh yeah. Metroplex is down. He's down in the other corner in a small image.
It's almost like, this one's going away soon.
Yeah.
This is the one like that you don't want anymore. Here's the one you want. The one that you're never going to get, by the way, in the UK. So
to be fair, if you look at the two of them, there's one that's just looks better.
Yeah, unambiguously.
Even
unambiguously.
Even is it Cog? Like, oh god, what's his combining robot friend called? Is it Cog? No, it's not Cog.
Cog is the little guy. Cog is like the you know how like some of the city formers have transformers that are made out of the bits that come off them. That's Cog.
Is that Cog?
Cerebros is Cerebros is the big head.
Yes, I remember that.
Spike Witwicky is the little head.
Yeah, it's Cog. I couldn't remember the name of. I couldn't remember as well if Cog had a name for his legs and a name for his torso.
I know, it's all just Cog.
Because Cog's not as annoying to play with as Six Gun. He's more solid than Six Gun, but he's not as good as Triptychon's.
Brunt. Is it Brunt?
No,
yeah?
Brunt's the cannon. Brunt's fine.
That's
Brunt's
right.
the cannon. We had this problem last time as well,
I can't remember the car's name, I'm afraid.
I can't remember either. This was the exact same problem. Chat's going to have to tell us again what he's called.
Sorry, guys.
Triptychon's little purple car. What's he called?
Yeah.
Throw it in the chat and I'll let us know. I think he's better than Cog. Cog's not as good. Orange says Cog is the one that became the weaponizer, Grommet, and Gasket. Oh, so they gave those names later. Okay.
Right. Okay, that's cool.
Guessing he didn't have those names prior. I guess maybe the only problem with Metroplex is there are a lot of bits to lose. Like you say, there's Cerebros, there's Spike, there's Cog, and there's the bottom half of Cog, the top half of Cog, Cog's two arms, the radar dish, the two big guns.
Yeah.
I think
the ramps are detachable as well, so there's a lot of bits that can come off this guy.
What do you think of the gimmicks on Fort Max? Because he has quite a few. Yeah, he has a lot.
He does, and a lot of them are fun actually. A lot of them are they're not obtrusive and they work. There's a lift, isn't there? At one point, you can put like a car in and it goes up and comes out.
That's the penis wrench is for. But that's why it's there.
The unfortunately placed switch, the Galvatron syndrome.
I don't know why they didn't put it anywhere. I guess maybe there wasn't anywhere to put it, but it's the worst.
Hey, Scorponok has his rub sign there.
That is true. It was full tilt. Thank you, Orange. Full tilt was on Triptychon.
I
always forget it.
Yeah, it's a car, isn't it? It's like
it's a car without personality. The only main gimmicks on Fort Max I don't like are the launcher ramps.
Mm-hmm.
Which are on the shoulders, which you have to do manual. I think if they were spring-loaded or something, it would give a better idea of what's meant to be going on there, but having to do it manually, it's just roll the car
they just don't work.
No.
They just don't work, because they build up dust in the runnels and they stick, and that kind of thing never works for very long.
No, it's the worst gimmick. Everything else is good. I like the prisoner on his left leg, right leg?
Yeah.
Whichever leg it is. That's a really cool gimmick. I never quite understood what the stairs were on his other shin.
No idea. Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know. No. I don't know, to be honest. I think they're just for for the little headmasters to, I guess, there's a man-force thing going on there, isn't there?
Oh, maybe that's the idea. Yeah, maybe it's how you get into. Maybe it's like the Imperiatus Titan. It's just like another way to get in through the legs.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's the implication. Anyway, I think it's just like an ambient detail.
I just used it to throw Cog in there, to be honest. I think he's on he'll be in my bedroom now. I think that's where Cog is on him. He's probably just stuffed in that shin.
Oh, you've got a G1 Fort Max.
I do. Yeah, it was one of the ones I had to aim for. It not the reissue one, the original one.
The original, you actually got the original, did you? Wow, well done.
Yeah, because I had it for when I was doing YouTube videos back in the day. Man, the one thing that is not desperately fun about Fort Max is transforming him.
Yeah, because it's so awkward, isn't it? It's so bloody awkward.
And he has such big ratchets in those hips and knees. And they have to be big. They have to be chunky. But
Of course.
Man, I remember trying to do those on camera. It's transforming things at a weird angles, never fun to begin with. But then trying to do it with something like Fort Max is rough.
He's one of those rare bots where you've got to kind of think about how you approach it, right?
Yeah, you look at him, you sit down, you cross your arms, and you go,
Yeah. So how do I start this then?
Yeah. He's not even that complex of a transformer. He's
not complex. He's just awkward, isn't he?
It's just the legs. Once you do the legs, you're pretty much golden. Everything else works fairly easily. It's just those legs where you're like, come on, man, don't fight me. Don't break. That's another fear, I guess, as well. Like, please don't explode, because they are old ratchet joints.
Yeah, they are old, aren't they? Please, God, do not break.
No, especially because it's Fort Max. He's not cheap. He's expensive.
I mean, there was that period. He's not as expensive as he used to be because of the reissues, but there was a time when he was like gold dust, wasn't he? He was the rarest of the rare. He was everyone's holy grail, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I remember there were many people at TF Nations who were like, I need a Fort Max. That's the one people were after. Yeah. And obviously your friend Ray got all of them.
Got all of them, obviously he did.
All hen's teeth, and he got every teeth. He found every chicken and pulled out every teeth.
You really not want to be sick. There was a period when he had to sell his original Fort Max.
No way.
Just for money reasons.
Oh man.
And he managed to get another one.
Oh, was it an original or a reissue out of interest?
Yeah, it's an original.
Wow. Okay. That's annoying that he had to sell it. Sad he had to sell it. But great that he was able to get it back.
Right, it's brilliant, right?
I still think, even to this day, it is, if you are an American Western G1 collector, I still think it is one of the things that you would probably really want.
It's the one, isn't it? I mean, it is amazing. I do remember, obviously, I think most of us saw him first in the Rebirth or something like that, didn't we?
Must have.
And that was always very impressive. I mean... Again, despite the size disparity, Scorponok I love way more.
Yeah, 100%.
Just way more. I like everything about Scorponok, actually. I haven't got, barring the silliness with his head, I haven't got a bad word to say about Scorponok.
Even Cerebros is a solid little figure.
He's a good bot, isn't he? He's a decent bot,
Decent
he turns into a camera, doesn't he? Sort of. Well, to slot into Fort Max.
He turns into a square that goes into a shoulder port for the city, which looks like nothing really, but it's fine. It's fine.
At least he does something.
He does something.
Which is fine.
It's a feature. It's not a great feature, but
it's something, right?
Do you want to talk
Interestingly, in the cartoon, they kind of boiled down Fort Max's personality into Cerebros, didn't they? Because bizarrely, in the cartoon, Fort Max is like he is in the Japanese show, kind of. He is nothing. He doesn't have a personality.
No, he is just Cerebros, effectively.
Yeah.
Well, Fort Max... Oh, sorry. Isn't it just Fort in Japan? I think it's Fort. And then he becomes Fort Max
when he's
combined together.
Yeah.
But the Fort Max from Japan does have the Master Sword, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. I
like how it transforms as well in Japan, where he sticks the Master Sword into a slot, like his smaller version, and that is the activation key to transform. I like that.
That's fun. Yeah, that's fun. I like that.
It is a very Japanese kind of we need a key to activate the thing, but I like the idea of the key that activates the thing. It's like you press the button to set off the missile.
Yeah.
I like press the big red button and we go. I like that.
Yes, there's something about the process and the ritual of it that's kind of fun, right?
Yeah, it's a big sword too, and that's fun. Unnecessary, but cool. Decepticons, George, it's time.
Oh, come on. I mean, they're so much better.
So,
first of all, just look at the colors.
They always
just
look
the
better.
colors, just on this page. I mean, like, Jesus, it's
it's less
so
obnoxious.
Yeah.
The red's really obnoxious, and it doesn't work too well with like highlighting the figures, because the red drowns a lot of them out. Unfortunately, the purple's a softer color in a lot of ways, so you can actually look at everything and go, "Oh yeah, I can see these. This is."
They're certainly emphasized more, aren't they? Which is nice.
Feels like it. So we have Horrorcons, Duocons, Headmasters, Clones, Terracons, Six Shot. And the Target Masters and Scorponok. Where do you want to go first?
Shall we do the Duocons first? Because they're not great, are they?
They are better than the throttle bots.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're
I-
better than the throttle bots. And I've got a soft spot for them because I had flywheels when I was a kid.
Oh, really? I didn't have. These were ones I got much later, and I would say I like these two more than the Autobot clones as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the concept of them. I think the concept's really interesting.
Concept is great. And as a kid, don't get me wrong, I thought it was brilliant. I love the fact that this thing like turned into both a jet and a tank and you could fit it together to become a... I thought that was amazing, to be honest.
Automorph, I think, works for the era pretty well.
It's okay, there's nothing wrong with it. It functions fine.
Yeah.
They're a bit naff, they're a bit shit. Let's be honest.
They are your more fun kind of cheapo toy. But
definitely.
I really like the design aesthetic to both of them.
Me too.
It just works nicely. I think that obviously the newer toys of them are the way to...
The flywheels, the new one. What's his name? I can't remember what his name is.
Flywheels and Battle Trap.
The new one is awesome. The Flywheels new one is just a great figure. Really lovely figure.
I never bought them. I kind of regret it. I probably should pick them up at some point.
Honestly,
I played with Dave's. This was like this was Siege era where I was really against buying them because they'd pumped up the prices, and I just got annoyed with Hasbro. At that point, I was like, I'm just not
I understand
buying them.
that.
Yeah,
I totally understand that. I mean, I'm not a collector as such anymore, but when I see the prices now, I'm like,
you have to buy them on sale, and even on sale, they're still pretty rough, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Orange says Siege Flywheels is timeless.
Yeah, he is really good. I mean, there's something very, very coherent and solid and wonderful about. I don't know, he just works. There's something really cool about him. When I was a kid, I had this Flywheels and I had a knockoff as well.
Oh, of Flywheels.
Knockoff. Yeah, it was bright, like it was like almost like G2 Flywheels. It was the tank was bright lime green, and the jet was this bright pastel blue.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
that's a pretty fun color scheme.
And he was good. As a knockoff goes, he was really good. He was tight. The plastic was good.
Wow, that
was an excellent knockoff.
All you needed to do, and I think if you still had him, you probably would paint some camo stripes on him.
Yeah,
perfect.
He'd be perfect. He'd be perfect.
Yeah.
I wish I still had him. Actually, he was a fantastic knockoff. He was.
And good knockoffs are rare, especially back then. To find like a good knockoff.
Back then, I mean, back then they were garbage, weren't they? They were super garbage.
Bad. I remember finding fake not Insecticons, but they were fake bug transformers at Center Parks many years ago, and I don't know what they were.
Yes, I had some of those. They were also sold them at Drayton Manor down the road from me.
Did they?
Yes, I had a Mantis one. Looking back, it was shocking.
Yeah.
It was shocking. I loved it. I thought it was great, but it was shocking.
I had a Mosquito.
Yeah.
It was like brown with like metallic brown for stripes on it. It's weird. I had this really crap blue, like cheetah cat thing as well.
It was a lynx, I think.
Is that what it was?
And it had a silver head.
Yes. Silver head, blue body.
And it had wing things that attached to it.
Oddly enough, very similar to Transmetal 2 or Transmetal Cheetor, but before Cheetor.
Like presaging it, right? I had that one, and it was shite.
It was terrible.
It was shite. I loved it.
Keep me happy, though. Center Parks where there weren't any Transformers.
Transforming robot, right?
That's all you needed. So, Duocons, I like them, but like you say, they are crappy. But
they're crap. There's something very fun about them, like in a crap way. I like them as a time capsule of this era.
I better than Thrallbots. Just end off.
Yeah. I particularly like Flywheels because he was in some of the good comics in the UK. Like, is it City of the Dead or City of the Damned? The one with the zombie homage?
I have no idea. I didn't read the comics.
That was great fun. Great fun.
Where would you like to go next?
There's so much good stuff here. Should we do the Target Masters?
Do you not want to do Abominus? Get him out of the way with?
Let's do Abominus because, I like the Terracons. I actually really like them, but they are kind of shit.
Yeah. I mean, I think even the Combiner Wars ones were shit. Unfortunately, they didn't because they didn't do too much with them. And I think that was the problem. And it's a shame because I really like like Rippersnapper, Sinitwin, Cutthroat, lesser. Hungar, I really like, and Blot. I think Blot needs almost like a complete redesign to make him cool.
To make him like functional, you know?
Yeah, to make him a thing.
Although, I mean, it's that thing. They're robot monsters, and that is fun. I'd have loved I didn't have these guys. I don't even know if if they were released in this country, but I would have loved these as a kid. I'd have loved them. I wouldn't have noticed the lack of quality. I just wouldn't have cared, you know?
I had Return of Optimus Prime on VHS and saw these guys and thought they looked ace. And was annoyed that I couldn't get them. I was like, oh.
And Hunger's a good toy.
He's pretty good. Does he have a third mode? I don't think he does.
I don't think he does. No, I don't think he does. But kind of doesn't need it. Double-headed dragon, you know, it's kind of cool.
None of them needed it. None of them needed it, but they had them.
Very weak combined mode. Abominus ain't great.
Yeah, especially compared to Computron, where everything was filled out nicely. As I said, things aren't really nicely filled out here. You just get the big chest plate that hides everything apart from how kind of crappy the legs are, at least the thighs.
Yeah. Also, color-wise, he's odd. You know, he doesn't work for me. The white for this guy doesn't necessarily work for me, and it clearly didn't work for the cartoon animators either, because they changed it. They made him more purple. Yeah,
the head was purple. I can't remember if anything else was, but the fact that I'm gonna say his thighs weren't gray either, probably.
I don't think they were. I think they were black, actually.
Probably. I think the toy isn't helped by the like you said, the gray head, the gray shins, and then also Rippersnapper being gray as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's
odd. It lends him like it's too bright somehow. It lends him almost like a medical quality that doesn't really work, you know?
Yeah, and I don't think it's something you could have fixed without just changing Hungar's color scheme, unfortunately.
Changing his color scheme, yeah,
and
unfortunately.
I like Hungar's color scheme on his own, though. I think these work better as a unit rather than a combiner.
Yeah,
I wonder if these would have just been better if you'd served them like the monster bots.
That would have been nice.
And
I would
had
have
them
liked
like
to
the anti-monster bots versus a combiner team.
Yeah, that would have been fun. That would have been fun.
You know, I guess they needed another combiner to go along with Computron.
Yeah, they did the equivalent, didn't they?
Yeah. What did you think of some of their extra weapons? Because we had previously, oddly enough, we didn't get extra weapons with the Technobots. They just have guns that blend nicely onto the vehicle mode.
Pretty much.
With the Terracons, some of them, like Rippersnapper and Sinitwin, have the big guns which can't be held. Cutthroat probably has the best because his tail becomes his gun. That's probably the best integration.
Yeah, that's kind of cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the attempts at integration. That's always appreciated on G1 bots, because most often, you just had to have a little baggie, didn't you, and keep them there.
I didn't have a baggie. I had a toy box. Just throw them in the bottom of the toy box.
Me too. Yeah, I chucked them in the box.
You lost them then.
What I did.
Even though they were in the toy box, they somehow went away. Don't know.
They did. It happened all the time.
Every time. Yeah. I got nothing else really, unfortunately.
No, and also they didn't do anything notable in any of the fiction of this era. They were just there as fodder, weren't they? They were literally there to get shot, and that was it.
Yeah, to show how cool Computron was, and that was about it.
Yep.
Axel Hedge says, I had all the Terracon limbs, but never had Hunger. Oh, that really sucks.
Isn't it? That's awful, because is the best bit.
What's worse? Is it worse to miss Hungar, or is it worse to be missing one of the legs?
Yeah, so you can't stand him up.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're not served well in either camp, unfortunately.
No, you're right.
Lauren says, I love the fact that there are two-headed beasts in the team. Two-headed beasts, I should say. Kind of asymmetrical considering where they're placed on the team. Yeah, there's one big one, one small one. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? I like that. It's one of those things where I love the concept and I love the designs. They just don't work.
If you could change Block to something other than this weird square troll,
whatever the hell he's supposed
mythical
to be,
creature do you think you'd try and slide in here to fit with these guys? Because we've got a pterodactyl bird, harpy. We've got two.
You want something like a chimera or a manticore, don't you? That would be fun.
That could work, because you could do it in the same style as Rippersnapper, where the big manticore head just kind of flips backwards and it has the scorpion tail. I like that.
That'd be great. That'd be fun.
Oh, maybe not a scorpion tail, maybe a snake, just a classic.
Go for like a
Chimera.
mythological thing with it. I think that'd be fun.
Instead of the gun with the fin on the back, you could have it as a goat head.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, I like the
That
idea
would
of that.
work.
That works quite
You
nicely.
wouldn't really need to change Sitter to it. He fits kind of well anyway, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's only Blot that you really need to fix.
Yeah, I think so.
Less Blot.
I think so.
Okay.
Although I do like the Combiner Wars Blot. I will say they've made a good job of him. He actually does work quite well.
He is surprisingly good. Surprisingly. I just wish the Combiner Wars Terracons were better. That's my
Me
only
too.
wish.
Me too. I mean, I have all of them, and they're fine.
Yeah.
They're fine, you know,
Yeah.
but they're only fine.
That's the problem. I think, no, they weren't even Combiner Wars. Weren't they Power of the Prime?
I don't know.
They might be Power of the Prime, which is probably why I don't have them.
Ah.
Because I didn't buy anything Power of the Prime because I got really... I played with Dave's Dreadwing and Dark Wings and hated the quality on them and went, no.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
it was a no, yeah.
That was a big old nope. What do you want to go to next then? We've got clones, we've got Hurricanes, we've got Six Shot.
Shall we do the clones?
Yeah, I like them.
I love the clones. I'm such a, again, I can't really be in any way objective about these guys because I had them as a kid and I love them.
I got them later on as an adult and I still think they're really fun.
Yeah,
There's something about them. I think they're more convinced. Are they more convincing as animals than the Autobots or as vehicles? Ooh. I don't know.
I like them better. I know that. I like them better because they're animals, right? And robotic animals is just fun.
They're usually more interesting visually.
I mean, there's problems describing Pounce as a puma with that because he looks more like a wolf, doesn't he? Let's be honest. He looks way more like a wolf.
I mean, it's like a weird anemic situation where it's got the thinnest legs and tail imaginable, but it's also eaten recently like an entire other cougar or something. I think the head's good enough as a cat. I'm convinced it's more cat than wolf.
I like Wingspan better.
Wingspan's a little harder to... I wish Wingspan did something with its arms.
With his arms, yes.
That's the problem with Wingspan here. That's the if they could have got rid of them or folded them behind him, like
or just slotted them in or something, you know, make them slot into his body or something.
Yeah, I think the easiest thing is, you know how with Pounce you slot them forward. If you'd reversed that and had them go backwards,
that might have worked.
That would have probably been the best solution rather than them just. They're just
sitting there.
They just sit there menacingly. I do kind of like how the knees and the feet kind of become these weird tail. Oh no, they split. It's not shown very well in the comic here, in the advert here, but they do split apart, don't they? So he does have a tail like, and talons almost.
It's odd. They're like in shells, aren't they? So like the outer part of the legs splits back and becomes the tail of the bird.
That's right.
And then the feet, the claws of the bird are inside. It's really quite cool.
It's just not done no service here in the advert because it just looks like he moves his knees back, and he does more than that. Thankfully,
he does a lot more. I mean, he's a bit more convincing than is being shown there.
Yeah, I think he's again been undersold by mistransformation, which if you can see Motormaster on the right hand side happens.
Holy shite! Yes, they've really not done him a service there.
Yeah, we talked about that last time as well. It was just as bad. Yeah, no, you're right. He does more than Pounce. I think the reason why I was a bit confused why you said he was better was just because I couldn't remember how much he did. Because he's not served well in the advert.
Also,
here.
I mean, he's got this really interesting transformation that's quite subtle, where you have to push the robot legs up, and that pushes the bird head up a little bit, that it comes out. It's really quite for one of these figures. It's quite involved, you know.
Yeah. Oh, and like you said before, nicer color scheme. The blue and the white work better than gray and red. Nicer. Maybe black and red would have been better on the twins.
I like them as characters again as well. I mean, these guys are like they're like Decepticon Black Ops. These guys, they would have hung around with Soundwave.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
You know? He would have probably been their boss, to be honest. because they are like the consummate professionals. They're like spies and assassins and saboteurs and whatnot. I kind of love that.
If Hasbro wanted to reintroduce them, I think you could do a story where Laserbeak and Ravage are damaged and they have to be upgraded, and you could just do it like that. I think story-wise, that's good enough for a kids' cartoon that it would justify it.
Makes sense. I think that would be great. I would have. I would have absolutely bought that these guys are Laserbeak and Ravage.
And if you then wanted, you could, Laserbeak Wingspan gets killed off. Pounds rechanges his name to Ravage, paints himself black. There you go, Beast Wars connection.
Yeah, Beast Wars. Yeah, totally.
That'll do.
Totally get that.
I'd be convinced that's good enough for me if you wanted to do that in the future.
Me
Thankfully, the Legacy or Power of the Primes, I suppose it was for America, versions of these two are really good.
Oh, are they? I haven't got them. I haven't got the new ones.
I really like them. They're not complex Transformers by any means, but if you like the original G1 versions, I think you'll like these ones too.
Oh, I may have to pick them up then. I may have to, because
I need to pull them back out of the box again. The problem is there's two versions of them. There is, because you might not know how they released them. They released them with Pounce came with one of the Autobot Cloud Raker, the other one, and then they did it the other way around as well. And I think they were colored more, because they're not colored correctly here, are they? The limbs were not red; they were more purple, I think.
No, you're right. You're right. They're not colored correctly.
And I think for the first version of the American release, they were either pink or reddy. And then the second time they re-released them, they were more accurate. But the Japanese ones were also quite nice. I'd recommend them. Orange also recommends them as well. In chat, he mentions that
I'm going to have to pick them up, because I have an enormous soft spot for these guys. I like them a lot.
I don't know how easy they are to come by, but obviously don't spend crazy money if you can help it. But they're about Scout size. They're not deluxe. They're Scout size-ish.
That's okay. That kind of makes sense for these guys.
Exactly.
I can buy that. I can definitely buy that.
Oh, Orange says they were re-released in Earthrise. I would say they came out previously, and then they were released in Earthrise in the more accurate color schemes, I'm guessing. They were packaged correctly too, so I must have came out right. So yeah, have a troll on.
So you don't have like the drag factor of having to get the Autobot ones.
Yeah. I've got them. No, I don't actually have them. I didn't bother. I kept meaning to, because I was like, I'll get the Japanese ones, and went, no. Because they're just the same. They transformed the Autobot ones, I remember, are the same, just with ball joints, so they're more articulated.
Right.
And I was like, I'm all right. I don't need them.
I'm
all right. I wanted these two,
not
though. Okay, where to now, Mr. George? Because I think we've gushed about the boys.
Shall we go for the Target Masters?
Sure, Target Masters pretty solid for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you've got Cyclonus and Scourge, and you've got kind of that same thing where it's just the same figures with like a port drilled in them, but it's fine.
Oddly enough, for this advert, Cyclonus is weirdly colored.
Yes.
For some reason, in his robot mode, half of his body is purple, which he never... I don't think he was ever... Was he purple or was he blue for the original toy? I think it was blue for the original toy.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
But for some reason, one of his arms is blue, and then for the vehicle mode, he's mostly blue, but then one of his arms is purple.
Yeah.
I don't know
Slightly
why.
odd. I don't know what's going on there.
That is a bizarre prototype. I have no idea why.
Not the first clue. Not the first clue. But I do like this. I mean, because of course, I imagine a lot of this decision was due to the fact that they were really popular in the cartoon, right?
It must have been. It's probably just reusing the mold as well. It's like, we got the mold, just carry them over. Kind of like what they did with when we were talking about the Seekers, and they just had the cone heads again. It's like, just keep them going. Why not?
Keep them going, right? And also give them a more of a team, as give them this new unit, which is kind of fun. I like the Decepticon Target Masters. I think they're more successful than the Autobots for the most part.
Yes.
As we discussed, the Target Masters are actually wank. They are terrible. Blowpipes are trigger happy. I remember having him as a kid, and just garbage. I mean, utter garbage. He looks like and felt like the plastic is awful.
That's the problem with them,
and felt like a Kinder Egg toy.
See, I don't mind I actually prefer the fact that you pull off parts to then parts form into the gun. I like that because it gives them a more interesting silhouette to the Autobot ones. It's primarily that they didn't pin the hips.
Yeah.
That's my issue. And like you said, I think you can find some maybe the reason there aren't surviving Target Masters is they broke.
I think that's very likely.
I wouldn't be shocked. Oddly enough, Misfire has the wrong Target Master. He has an Autobot Target Master.
They've done that thing of giving them the wrong Target Masters.
At least
yes,
the one standing next to
part.
him. For some reason.
What I like about all of these guys in terms of character is that, their primary thing is that they are shooters. That's what they do, right?
Yes.
And they're all bad at it.
Yeah.
All of these characters are bad at it. You've got Misfire, who is apparently like the only way to get him to hit his target is to tell him to hit something else, apparently. Trigger Happy, name says it all, he's a lunatic who just fires randomly and wildly. Slugslinger is apparently competent, but he's not as good as he thinks he is. So, yeah. And you just can't win with these Decepticons, can you?
No, all of them have great vehicle modes.
Yeah, the vehicles
not bad
are great.
No.
And they're so well done as well. Like the toys are so coherent. I mean, they fit together very well. I think these are some of the best G1 Decepticon jets, to be honest. I think they fit together beautifully. They don't have, like, Misfire is gorgeous.
Yeah, like
He's
both modes.
Absolutely gorgeous. He doesn't, like, have any undercarriage kibble or anything.
The most he has are his arms, and they're hidden fairly well.
They're reasonably recessed. Trigger Happy has his legs, but they actually become a fairly convincing part of the jet.
Yeah.
So
because they're so thin, which is the issue I have with Trigger Happy's robot mode, his waist is so thin.
Oh yes, and he's quite brittle as well.
Yeah, the thankfully, because his hips are so thin, it does help the jet mode. So it's one of those sacrifices, I guess, that went, fine.
Yeah.
I wish they could pull out, but yeah. I wish as well that Trigger Happy's guns clicked into position or pegged into position.
Which they don't. They just sort of sit, don't they? They kind of sit where they're supposed to, and then the joints get loose. And...
I've got blue tack on mine.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did to him as a kid. That is exactly what I did to him to keep them up. There's
no other way. What else do you do? It's that's the worst thing about him. None of the other two have that issue. The rest of them, the other two,
it's a very minor fault, to be honest. I mean, these are good toys. These are really solid, chunky, good toys, and it's so nice to see. I always found them more interesting as a kid than the Seekers, which are kind of their forebears.
I mean, these are really interesting vehicles. They're way more interesting vehicles. They're all different molds, and the Seekers are just the same. And and the Seekers parts form quite badly. To be fair, the Seekers are very old, very old.
Yes, you've got to give them that, haven't you? They are even at this point, they're old toys, right? They're old molds.
Those Diaclone things had been cracking on from probably like the early 80s. Very early 80s, yeah.
Very long time. So you've got to forgive them that. But for me, these were always the more interesting Decepticon jets.
I agree, yeah. They look good in both modes. Great profiles. The only issue is the Target Masters.
The Target Masters are not very good.
No, should have been redesigned. Someone should have said, "Nope, let's fix these.
Let's go back to the drawing board with these." Yeah,
just put a pin in them. Just put a pin in them.
Just put a pin in the damn things. Yeah. So they don't break.
Yeah, not even the Decepticon, the Cyclonus or Scourge. Theirs don't have them either. It's bizarre.
No, they do not. They do not.
What a shame.
Beyond that,
I would have maybe liked again either Trigger Happy or Slugslinger to have slightly different colors because they are very. It's like
they are very similar.
It's Point Blank and Sure Shot, not Sure Shot. Point Blank and
the other one.
The other one. Yeah, we'll go with the
other one that everyone forgets.
Yeah, they're too close together color scheme wise. It's light blue versus dark blue, and it would have been nice to have them a bit separate.
they've almost all they've really done is inverted the colors.
Yeah.
That's all they've done. So, like, on Slugslinger, he's primarily grey with blue bits, and Trigger Happy is primarily blue with grey bits.
Yeah, it's a shame.
But they're a nice unit. They're a really nice unit. I like them. They hardly feature in they are in the Rebirth. They feature as background characters, but in terms of characters, hardly in it.
They're in there more than some of them.
They're in there more than some of them,
guess.
definitely. But they don't. They,
No.
by and large, they don't have many like speaking parts or anything like that.
Do they have more than the 3 Autobot? I think they have more than the 3 Autobot ones.
Oh yes, they do. I mean, the Autobot ones barely, like, for the most part, they're shown being shot at a lot.
Yeah.
That's largely it.
Yeah, because they get shot up before they get their target masters, and then
They
they get
do.
their target masters, and then it's just a cluster. It's a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Mikey
That's
says, George is too good at this. Hello, Mikey. Welcome.
Hey, Mikey, you're right, man.
Oh, Excel Hedge says, oh, this doesn't help. Super hard for you, George. The clones are $20 to $35 on eBay. Hopefully that translates to UK pounds without too much fat.
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
That's not much at all, is it? Really?
Not really. Hopefully you'll be able to get
That's
them
pretty
for sale.
Yeah.
Orange goes, I absolutely love Misfire. The magenta color scheme is gorgeous.
Agreed.
He's actually more pink, I think, for the toy, isn't he? Rather than magenta.
Oh, cripes. I cannot remember for the life of me.
I think he's more pinky than he is here. He looks a lot redder on the advert than he actually is in person. Maybe he is more magenta.
I do love the design of the jet as well. It's very spiky with those forward-facing wings and the prongs at the front. It's really very aggressive looking. I like it a lot.
God damn, how good is the remolding of them for the Legacy, for the Legends figures and Titans Returns figures?
Yeah, they're very good. I mean,
Him and
they
Slugslinger are the same, but they feel so different.
They feel really different, and they're just coherent, aren't they? They're just good toys, right?
They're just
very,
they're
very
great.
good toys.
Super good. XL Hedge says the Autobots Decepticon Double Spy Masters are my favorite. The Double Masters. What are the double?
Oh, the
masters?
double target masters.
Oh, the double target. Oh,
is that what we're talking about?
Maybe if that's the case, I could see that. Like Overload, and oh crap, who are the other? Oh, Needle Nose.
Yeah, Needle Nose, Spinister.
Yeah,
Quake is awesome.
Quake, that's the one.
Quake is so good.
I don't have Quake, unfortunately. He's the only one I don't have. I have the other
Both
two.
the G1 and the what was it? Titans Return? Was it Quake?
Titans Return isn't as good because he's just a remold of
Hardhead, isn't
Hardhead, but it's Hardhead.
Right?
Yeah, but he doesn't have his Target Masters, which is a bit of a shame. But
which is a bit of a shame.
He's
but I had G1 Quake again from that same secondhand toy store in the Derby Eagle Centre. Both of his Target Masters as well.
Oof.
Like, wow, right?
And his turret.
Yes, and his turret.
Because he has 3 bits which you can lose.
He does. And he's a lovely bot. He's a really lovely bot. The way the legs fold up around the torso to become the tank. Really coherent, tidy as all get out for a G1 bot.
He's definitely one I've wanted for a while because he does look
There
nice.
is no faff on him. He's lovely.
Pretty decent color scheme. Interesting. Like blue, magenta, and grey, oddly enough, kind of work somehow.
Yeah, it's really lovely. It's actually really lovely. It works. There's something about it that is just very pleasing. It's a nice toy.
I'm a fan. We can't do the Horicons yet. We've got to do the Headmasters first, right?
Let's do the Headmasters. I love these guys. I love them to bits. The colors, I love the characters. I love the designs of them. I think they're beautiful. I got, as I said, from that toy store that had that influx, that had found a cache of 1980s toys somewhere. I got them all in one go, and I was ecstatic, I can tell you.
Who's the worst one?
I
might say Skull Cruncher.
Yeah, but I love him.
I do too. I do too, but I think he might be the worst. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I find it very difficult with these guys because I think they are all pretty great.
Who's the best?
And I know.
Who's your favorite out of them?
I think Mindwipe's my favorite.
I think, he's got a really fun placement for his cockpit. The transformation's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
a big old bat.
He's a big old silly bat. A square bat.
He's a big square bat with a silly Halloween mask head.
Yeah.
I love him. I think he's great.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. I guess the only issue, not really issue, maybe it is an issue. His bat wings are upside down in his robot mode, pointing backwards, and it would be nice to have them flayed out to the side of him to give him a fun silhouette. But that's
It would, but
yeah.
it's fine. There
Would
are issues. I mean, my version of Mindwipe, G1 Mindwipe, the little tabs that make his fists come out, all it broke. Yeah, yeah. So you had to get like a screwdriver or a knife or something to get the bloody fists to come out.
The worst thing about those sliding gimmicks for anything, whether it's hands, feet, legs, if those tabs went, it was a pain in the butt.
That was it. You couldn't get the damn fists out, right?
No. I guess you could. It maybe would have just served better if they were on hinges like the other two, and you could just swing them out. Maybe that's too modern.
I love his character as well. I love the fact that he's a Decepticon mystic. He's an occultist. I mean, like, it's so funny. I love that. And that he's trying to he's a medium, so he tries to contact like the electromagnetic essences, the ghosts, effectively, of dead Decepticons.
I did enjoy his Japanese interpretation as well. Very kind of silly, over the top, humna humna humna. Using his psychic powers. That was quite fun.
Quite funny. And actually, I mean, in the Rebirth, he was quite a presence, wasn't he? He was actually one of the more characterized ones.
I was going to say he probably has the most lines out of the head. Yeah, no, he is the one. He's the headmaster that has the most.
He is. He does quite a lot. He does quite a lot, and he has that very distinct voice. Nope.
No, I don't think he
Not
did.
Once. He's completely silent.
Yeah.
Skullcruncher has one line.
He gets like one line or a growl or something.
And it means absolutely nothing. He tells Scorponok to go after RC because she's got the key, and that's it.
The female one. Yeah, it's him. The female one, Mighty Scorponok, she holds the key.
That's the one. That's it. That's all you know of Skullcruncher.
He's there. Got fun boys. Yeah, Mindwipe's the one that's given the fun stuff, I guess, because they were like, Dracula, Hypno powers.
Yeah,
that's
cool. It. That's exactly it. And Hypno powers, that's fun, isn't it? I mean, you can work with that, right?
Roll. I love it. Don't you aren't the arms on a fun twisty joint as well? So you kind of twist the entire shoulder chest piece around.
It's really weird. You've got to the arms move out and round, but also this section, like the parts of his torso that the arms connect to, flip round.
That's right. Yeah,
it's really strange. It's a very for a Transformer of its era. It's quite involved.
I think that's why he's my favorite, because of that specific thing. Because the other, obviously, with Skullcruncher, you just kind of split the legs apart.
Kind of stand him up.
You stand him up, yeah.
And stand him up, flip the head down, and
it's the same with Weirdwolf. They transform in a very similar manner. And then there's Mindwipe, who has that one step, but it's an interesting step.
Definitely. I have such a soft spot for these guys. I used to play with them so much. They broke quite a lot. These guys.
What a shame.
Yeah, well, I got my use out of them, that's for sure.
That's true. It's a shame.
Their purpose as toys was fulfilled.
And I mean, there are a few toys that work with purple and pink as well.
Yeah, it's true. And my God, there's a lot of pink going on, isn't there?
Huge amount of pink. Skullcruncher's mostly pink.
He's very pink.
Yeah.
I always liked the way he carried Grax, his headmaster, like a crocodile carries its young in its mouth.
That's why I said he was one of the worst, because he although I think it's a fun gimmick and it makes for a really cool action feature to bite, I think having the cockpit in the mouth isn't as, because it's nowhere near as secure as the other ones that have proper cockpits.
No, it's true. They have proper cockpits. I mean, Weirdwolf is a bit, because it's just in his back.
Yeah,
it's a hole in his back. Yeah, that's effectively it. And Mindwipes is cool. Mindwipes actually is detailed inside as well. It has like a seat and there's little like.
Does he sit down or do you stand him up?
Yeah.
I think he's standing.
Oh yeah, he sits down. He sits down. You can actually sit him down and there's a seat for him.
It's been a while since I've finagled with Mindwipe. He's in a display case, but I haven't touched him in a while.
It's good. It's been a long time since I played with any of these guys, to be honest.
Does it make you wanna?
Yeah, it actually does.
Yeah, just a quick fiddle.
Yeah.
Now the big boy headmasters, the best headmasters, the Horicons.
The Horicons, brilliant. I mean, just stunning in concept, right? I mean, they're just completely over the top, aren't they? And I love them for that. You know, you can imagine like around the Hasbro design. Oh, so we've got headmasters, we've got triple changers. Why don't we just like do headmaster triple changers, and let's have it so that the heads turn into the monsters' heads as well as the robots.
They called me mad.
They called
I
me
say.
mad, yeah. And also, I mean, like to do these particular designs. So like you've got to have like an upright robot that turns into, convincingly to a degree, into an ape, which is like a humanoid form anyway, and into a jet as well. I mean, it's pretty cool.
And I think the only disservice for Ape Face is mostly the hands, because they obstruct both ape mode and jet mode. If you could remove those arms, both of those modes would look a lot better.
Right. And again, I mean, there is was he Titan's Return, or was he?
He was Siege,
he?
and he was made out of a weird nylon plastic for his white stuff.
But he's very good.
I didn't get him because I heard that plastic was not great.
I've got him, and I find him to be really good, be honest. I find him to be really like solid and coherent. I think he's a fabulous toy.
Maybe I'll need to look out for getting Ape Face as well.
I would recommend it. He is really good, and also does away with that problem of like the what looks like a nappy on the jet mode, which is like all his undercarriage stuff.
Oh yeah, bless him.
But you know what? Given that he turns into 3 things, I am well prepared to forgive that.
Yeah, and I think like in the the lineage of the triple changes, both of these are probably in the top echelons of like all of their modes are pretty successful.
Yeah,
you granted have to squint a little bit for the animal modes to work, but they're convincing enough.
They're convincing enough, definitely. Yeah. And as for Snapdragon, I would go to bat for him. I think he's great.
Yeah, he's fantastic. They have disrespected him because they've not transformed him correctly again for his dragon mode.
You're right.
I don't know how they've even put the head on, because the neck where the joint is for the headmaster, it hasn't been extended. So how's the head on?
Has it? So how's the head? No, they haven't got the blue bit to come out, have they? So the neck. So
the neck. They must have glued it on or something.
Because they didn't know how to do it.
No, I have no idea. That head is on a neck, and it looks way better when his head's on a neck. Not like stumped neck.
That just stumped onto like the body, the torso, right?
It's bizarre. Maybe the only thing that I wish was a little bit better on Snapdragon was I wish, you know how most of them you hide their face quite well? The Snapdragon face hide, where you just kind of tilt the faceplate up.
Yeah.
It doesn't really do anything. Like if it gave like a, I don't know if Mikey was here, he could say like a dorsal fin on the top of the head, or like something. Maybe that's what they were going for. It just didn't come out enough.
It just doesn't pan out, does it? It doesn't work quite well. No.
It makes you wonder why it's there. Apart from, I guess it's good because it's a separate bit of plastic, so they didn't have to paint it.
Yeah.
It just isn't quite right. That's the only issue I have. I think the jet mode is way better than Snapdragon's. That is a beautiful jet mode. It feels great.
The jet. I think the jet may be one of the best G1 jets, to be honest. It's really got no undercarriage. It's just beautiful. It's so well put together, and it's big and chunky.
The only thing you can say is it's not a white jet. It's just got this black undercarriage. And is that a problem?
No, I don't think so. I think it looks good. I think it looks good.
I like it, but maybe that would be something someone might say. I don't know why though. No, it's and even the Earthrise figure was fantastic. I have
the Earthrise one is really good. I mean, they've updated it gorgeously.
The only issue I had with the Earthrise one was connecting the head to the dragon.
Where it like. Fun. It's odd where it like fits the jaw, isn't it? It's the lower jaw,
and it's a really intense like click that you have to get it in there,
and it feels like it's gonna break, doesn't it? It feels like that was good. I mean, it's solid, but oof, I don't want to do that too much.
No, it's not a happy connection. That's my main issue with that figure. It doesn't feel good to do it. Here, you don't have that issue. Everything feels nice when you peg it together. Everything just feels good.
Feels good.
Oddly enough, again, in the image, his gun's miscolored. And wait, hang on. does Apeface have his guns? Because he's meant to have 2 guns. He only has 1 gun. Apeface
I
has
don't know
2
what's
guns.
going on there.
I think Apeface has his guns, but in the wrong color for some reason. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I think he has Apeface's gun, which is meant to be red.
Oh my god, they really, I mean, they do not know what they're doing with these things, do they?
I'm guessing these things went to a photographer just in a box, and parts were just like, whatever, it's close enough. Slap them together.
Yeah, just slap them together.
What do you think of Apeface's headmaster in the fact that the legs on the headmaster are the 2 halves of the robot face? Because it's the only time they really do that.
Yeah, I think it's unique, and I think it's actually pretty good. I mean, it looks great. It looks fine in robot mode.
It doesn't hide the face desperately well, and it does put a very big cut in his face, but it looks good enough. I will go to bat for it. I think it's fine. I think it looks pretty interesting. And the ape face kind of ends up on the back of the robot mode head, doesn't it? Which it I like
looks
that.
really odd. I like it.
Fills it out, gives it girth.
It just looks interesting. I don't know. There's something about it I really, really like.
Maybe it's the fact that instead of, like, for the most part, every headmaster at this point has had legs on the back of their head, to have a different shape that you can tell aren't legs is probably quite nice as well.
I think that's something that makes these guys interesting too. The fact that their headmasters are bespoke, they're not like the same basic mold, just slightly rejigged. They're interesting. I really, really like them.
No, there's a reason why they were completely separate, and I mean, these outshine the poor Terracons massively.
Cripes,
massively.
If it's Horicons, Terracons, it's like Terracons right down here. Horicons, like,
these have 3 modes. All modes look pretty good for the time period. And the Terracons.
I mean, for me, some of the best G1 toys, some of the best. I think they're fantastic, these guys.
I think it's hard to disagree. I'm trying to think if there are a lot that'd be like, no, this is way better.
Just play value, I mean, like, I didn't have these guys as a kid, and that I feel really sad for that, because I would have. I think if I'd had them in hand, they might have even overshined Scorponok, because I think the play value of them is insane. I think they're just brilliant.
They do so much. And having 3 modes, and one of the modes be a monkey or a dragon that you can stomp around with as a kid, again, that's really good.
The other modes being like pew pew jets and whatnot.
Exactly.
Awesome, right?
Yeah. No,
also very decent bot modes as well. I mean, decent. Like really big, chunky looking, strong, scary bot modes.
Interesting, unique silhouettes as well. They don't look like anything else. They look like the Horicons, and that's it. Nothing else.
That's it. Yeah, no, it's good stuff. It's very good stuff. And they kind of outclass most of what's going on the Autobot side of this.
Yeah, I mean, the Autobots didn't have any kind of deluxe headmaster.
Not like this.
No, I guess maybe the closest thing that they had would have been that budget, I guess, went towards Fort Max, maybe.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. That's the compensation that the Decepticons got.
Rather small Fort Max and Autobot equivalents. I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
But
I would have loved to have seen like equivalents to the Horicons for the Autobots.
I think it would have been more boring. I think it would have been like a tank mode and then maybe jet modes for them. It would have been 2 vehicles rather than a monster.
You're right. You are right. They would not have been a monster, which is kind of a shame.
If they did like noble animals attempts, like a robot lion,
an eagle and a lion or something like that, that would have worked fine.
Yeah, he transforms into a tank and then into an eagle, and the other one transforms into a lion in a jet.
Yeah,
that could work. That could work quite well.
Would have worked.
Orange says, "Be careful with his shield, though. Clear plastic paint. I heard a lot of handle snappage.
Yes, I think that is an issue with the Siege Ape face. Yeah, that is a thing.
His shield's translucent.
Yes, it's like translucent blue plastic that's painted.
Oh, for God's sake!
Yeah, that's slightly odd.
Why? Just stupid.
Give us some solid plastic, right? But the rest of the figure's really, 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 decent.
Maybe I'll have a look after the show. I've been picking up a lot of RID 2015 Warriors and really liking them.
Mhm.
Really been enjoying them. Okay. There's only 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
6 shot.
6 shot? Well, 6 shot. And I mean, like, what can you say? It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, some of his modes aren't as dedicated as others, but you know what? I still like them all.
I like the advert where it says he's the most complex transformer, and at the time,
yeah, he was.
He is. Yeah.
At the time, yeah, he absolutely was.
You do kind of laugh because when you play with him and you think about what he does, it is kind of funny saying that now, but then you think about everything he does up for the time, and it's true.
It's pretty damn impressive, to be honest. There were no Transformers that had this, like, even close to as many as 6 modes at this point.
And let's be honest, Quick Switch is wank.
Quick Switch, the Autobots again got the short end of the stick with the 6 changes. He just wasn't very good.
No,
you know,
not
he just wasn't very good.
No,
6 shot. I mean, first of all, he's bigger. I mean, that's always a thing, isn't it? When you're a kid, he's way bigger than Quick Switch.
Did you have him as a kid? Did you say no? You did.
I mean, I did. It was later on as a kid.
Right.
Yeah, it was later on as a kid, but I did have him, and I bloody loved him. I was just ecstatic to have him. I can tell you. I can only
think of one mode you might not love even as a kid you'd love it, and that's the gun mode. Because it's not as playable, but you like it because you're a kid, so you go pew pew pew. Yeah,
exactly, and it's like fine. The other modes are so good as well. It's like fine, whatever.
Yeah, like it's a bit of futuristic car. It's a bit of a futuristic jet. I think the wing, like the Puma cat mode is fun.
Probably. Yeah, it's fun. It's a beast mode, and it's so, you know, even though it's not as successful, maybe arguably as the others, it's still a load of fun. It's a beast mode.
Yeah, like in comparison to the Horicons do it better, and the Headmasters do it better. But this is all right.
Again, and considering he's got to accommodate 6 other modes. I mean, 5 other modes. It's good. Yeah. It's good. I think the most convincing mode, the best alternative mode, is the Jet. The Jet is awesome. He's just so big and so like threatening looking. The silhouette of it is out of this world.
I might like the tank the most.
The tank is fun too. The tank is a lot of fun. It looks like a big, powerful siege engine is what it looks like.
It looks like a giant square with guns.
Yes, it does.
And there's something about a giant square with guns which is very satisfying.
He looks like he could like bash through the walls of Autobot City on his own, you know?
Yeah. And a very impressive robot mode with a nice silhouette as well.
Massive. I mean, he's a lot taller than he looks, actually. Yeah. The way he extends and everything, he is a really, really, really tall Transformer.
Yeah, he has to go on the top shelf of my display, mainly because of the wings on his back, because they stretch up pretty high.
They do.
I think he might be as tall or close to as tall as the Armada Unicron. He's close, right? Just because of the tip of the wings stretches up as high as it does. He's
a big figure for this. I mean, for this era as well. He's one of the bigger ones.
Oddly enough, he rivals kind of Triptychon quite nicely. Strangely enough, which is quite fun, and Scorponok as well to an extent. So your favorite mode as a kid was the jet mode, you'd say?
Oh, I loved the jet. I loved it. I loved how big it is. You know, it feels just like you could feel. You know, if it like descended, you'd feel it rumbling. It was just such an immense thing. I loved it. Loved it to bits.
I tell you, one of the things I really liked, because I didn't have this as a kid, I got this later on. I really liked opening the black back panels on the legs to fold the legs inwards and then closing them up. Because I assumed, like, when I saw this originally, that you would just, like, I don't know, I didn't know exactly how, but I assumed you just, not even fold, I thought you just pushed them. You just pushed them up, because that's what you do with most. It's like, no, you fold them, and then you have something covering them as well, so you can't see it, and it holds it together really well and nicely.
Yeah. And because of the way they transform into like the tank's turret as well, the way they like, they're on multiple joints, aren't they, inside? So they sort of like flip up in a really strange way.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of really cool engineering on this guy for the era.
Yeah, it's shockingly good.
Yeah, six shot. I mean, he's one everyone wants, isn't he? And he stands up. I mean, like, okay, yes, obviously he's a toy of the 1980s, but he stands up pretty damn well.
I mean, there's a reason why Titans Return didn't do too much to it.
Right, it's kind of the same, just with articulation.
Pretty much, yeah. The only thing that they changed was they made the head, I'd argue, a little worse because they gave the cap. But it's otherwise just the same toy, just like you said, articulated. It's great. It looks great,
and it's really good. Yeah. It's good old toy. I've got the Titans Return one back there somewhere.
And Great Shot's not too bad either. Great Shot is not. They didn't even do too much with Great Shot.
No.
They gave him a new chest, a new head, and a rhino head, and that's it. It's like, Bob's your uncle.
Fair enough.
And he's great as well.
It's a decent toy. Why not? More of that, please.
Yeah, 100%. Oops, I went the wrong way. The last one is miscolored Scorponok.
The miscolored Scorponok.
Everything's wrong on this version of the toy
Isn't
for some
it?
reason.
Isn't it just? But this is the image I saw actually when I was a kid on the catalog that came with my cousin's Nightbeat, and it's this that made me fall in love with the toy. For some reason, I may not have been old enough to even be able to read it because I didn't know his name was Scorponok until we got the Rebirth on VHS a few years later.
Right.
And he turned up, obviously, like dramatically. I just fell in love with this thing. The colors, the fact, it's a big robot scorpion. I've always loved invertebrates of all kinds. I love scorpions. Just like the fact that it turns into a base as well. Well, that's just gravy,
Fairly okay looking base. Not the best. Not as good as Fort Max, but better than most of the other ones.
Most of the G1 bases, I think he's pretty damn good. He's pretty coherent.
He's probably the second best, in all honesty.
Yeah.
It's Fort Max, then it's him.
Yeah.
Then I don't care, in all honesty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think he is the G1 toy for me. I think he's fantastic. I think he is unambiguously brilliant.
Yeah, I can understand that. I wanted this guy more than I wanted Fort Max, but I wanted Scorponok first when I was getting back into collecting.
As a kid, I didn't actually care about Fort Max. I wanted Scorponok.
Yeah,
I wanted Scorponok.
It's big pinchy hands. Big pinchy hands.
There is something about that too, isn't there? Something with claws. I love the fact that robot mode has the scorpion claws for its hands. There's something very, very appealing about that.
You don't need melee weapons when your hands are melee weapons.
No, you do not. No, you do not. And the fact that the toy, it's like when you eventually get it in hand, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's just so good. I mean, everything about it is brilliant. It's sturdy. It's big enough, but you can play with it. It's got that wonderful unobtrusive gimmick with the wheels that make the legs go up and down.
It's such a silly gimmick, and it sort of works. Not
like
super well, but it's fun.
No, but it's fun, isn't it? I kind of love it. It doesn't take away from the figure, which, let's be honest, most gimmicks, especially from this era, do.
Yeah, I would agree.
Massively. No, I think he's great. I think he is superb. The only gripe from me with him is, Zarak's a bit small because he's just one of the standard headmasters on this massive, massive body.
I'm not sure what you could have done to alleviate that.
Nor do I.
Because you couldn't do the Cerebros thing because Cerebros is too big.
Too big. So
there's no happy medium, so you have to have this weird tiny face, slightly bigger helmet.
Yep.
I mean, the way they alleviated that was for Black Zarak was just to have a giant plastic head and get rid of the gimmick to begin with.
Yep.
It's like,
Yep. I really like him. I mean, he is still one of my favorites. I played with this toy to death when I eventually got it by complete chance, by the way. It was complete luck. I don't know. Did I tell the story on the last video?
Of how you got this?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I
Been a
mean,
while,
I
though.
was after it for years. I was after it for years and years and years. And by the time it came to, I'd given up. I was sort of like, well, never. It's never going to happen. We are never going to get this toy. It's gone. It's not on the shores of the UK anymore. And then our neighbour at the time was having a clear out of toys and found not only a complete Scorponok, but with a box.
You jammy bastard.
And gave it to us.
What?
Complete chance. Complete, total chance.
He was just waiting there for you.
Yeah.
Just next door. He was just waiting.
Just next door, yeah.
That's nuts.
How mad is that?
It really had
So
everything.
eventually, yep, it had
That's
all the little
shocking.
bits. It had fast track, it had the guns, it had the shields, it had everything from the city mode. It
Jeez.
even had the polystyrene insert
Ugh.
from the box. It's
Ugh.
crazy. It was bonkers. I mean, that eclipsed Christmas that year. That was
I'm
like, I
not
couldn't give a
surprised.
shit about Christmas that year. It was like amazing. And I played to death with that toy. I played to death with it. It was ridiculous, the amount of play. And it's still pretty coherent, it's still around.
I managed to play with one just randomly at somebody else's house it was on a trip to a campsite. So it was like one of my mum's friends. So I didn't get to have a huge amount of play with it, but it was just the body, nothing else.
Right.
And I still thought it was very cool, but I was like, it felt like it was missing a lot, and it was missing a huge amount.
And it was, right. He's got, I mean, the thing with this Scorponok, you've got to have, again, a baggie to keep all the bits in.
That's
Because they don't go anywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot that
They
doesn't
don't go
go. What doesn't go? The two orange handles, the lift.
The two things from the back of the towers, the lift, the claws.
The two. You mean the two silver bits? No, they go on the side of the legs.
Oh, yeah, they go on the side of the legs. No, I mean the...
the things that colored green here.
The things that insert into the base.
Yeah, they're like radar
the
dishes.
Satellite things, they don't go anywhere. They don't do anything. So
nothing. I like the fact that the gun splits apart and attempts to do something.
It's quite cute, isn't it? I mean, like that's kind of redundant. They didn't have to do that, but it's there, and it's kind of cool.
And it's not shown here, but the panels on the thighs kind of flip up, and there are little missile bays in there, which is quite fun as well. It's like that's neat.
That's nice. I like that.
Implied missile power. That's nice. Yeah,
I like that a lot.
The ramp launch gimmick.
It's fine. It does work for some Decepticons, I mean, most of them get stuck on the ramp, but it works very well for like Swindle and the Combaticons, things like that. It's fine for them.
And fast track. It's perfect for fast track. It seemed like an obligation that every base had to have some kind of lift gimmick drop launcher
for some reason.
Yeah. But luckily, it didn't impede anything. It actually helped because they were able to use the Scorpion Tail as the ramp, thankfully.
Yes. So it's not a problem, fortunately.
Scorpion.
No, he's amazing. He's an amazing toy. Yeah.
Hell of a toy.
One of my favorites from childhood, I have to say. I have many, 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 many happy memories of this Scorponok.
Just impressive as well looking. And thankfully, the Earthspark Titan, I think it was good.
Very good.
Do you know the
like
reason why I don't have one, George?
What is that?
Because I was fucked over, basically. I bought one from Amazon because it was on sale. I was like, goody. I got him. And you know how he has a big grey panel that's inside of his chest?
Yeah.
That wasn't there.
Oh.
I called up Amazon and they said, contact Hasbro. And I contacted Hasbro and said, you just need to send it back. And I was like, it's just a grey panel. Do you not have? Can you not order one?
Send a grey panel for God's sake.
It's like no, so I just had to send it back because it's I was like, I kept the blast effects though. He made me waste my time and money. I'll keep those blast effects.
Yeah, that's a show because he is beautiful. The Titan's return is really lovely. He's a beautiful.
I really liked how Zarek felt.
Zarek's problem. Zarek's the best bit.
Yeah, he's
so
good. Oh, it's
He's
so
the
much
best
fun.
bit by a country mile. He is
100%.
absolutely the best bit. What a wonderful bot he is, just in and of himself, you know?
Yeah, he clips together well. He looks great as a head. Like you said, he
Amazing.
fixes the main issue with the original toy.
Definitely does.
So good.
Yeah,
Still annoyed.
Yeah, I can
Still
imagine.
annoyed.
And it's so sad because it's such a brilliant piece of work.
Yeah. It's one of the few Titans that is good. Orange says
Yeah.
Fort Max greater than Scorponok, greater than Overlord, greater than everything else.
Yeah, Scorponok. Yeah, I agree. I love Scorponok. I mean, I love all the incarnations of him as well. I love the character. You know, I loved him in the G1 comics where he was this conflicted, slightly noble Decepticon. I love that.
Where does he go in your Decepticon leader rankings? Because I think he's a bit more interesting than Shockwave as a leader.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's right up there for me. And that may be just the bias because I love the toy and everything, but I think he's one of the more interesting ones because he's sane.
Yeah,
he's one of the very few that's actually bloody reasonable.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's evil, but he's not mentally damaged and broken like Galvatron was.
No, he's not, and it's a really interesting one because in some incarnations he's not even evil per se.
That's true.
He's doing it because he believes it's right, and that's very interesting,
Yeah, I like him. He's good.
I like him a lot. I've got to say.
Overall, I think this is my favorite era of Transformers for the most part.
For G1, definitely. I mean, for me, it's always going to be Beast Wars. I love Beast Wars to bits, but
I can understand that.
For G1, I love this stuff. I think it's brilliant.
There are definitely things in the next few eras of Transformers that I really like, but I think as an overall package, this is where Transformers for me starts really hitting it for me. This is like, you know how Hasbro loves sticking to season 1, season 2 of Transformers, and that's for some people that's their favorite. It's from here on it's my favorite.
Me too.
You get the weird shit. All of the weird shit starts from this point.
I love the absurdity of it. I love the concepts they're even when they're not successful. I love the concepts they're throwing at it.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting.
I don't think any of the concepts failed for what they were doing. I guess the closest you could say are the throttle bots, but I think they've succeeded being the cheapo toy.
They're the cheapo toys, aren't they? And for what they're trying to do,
it works. Yeah. And the Duocons, I think I like them a bit more than you do. That's fine.
I like them. I think they're cute. I think the Duocons are absolutely fine. And like I said, I loved them when I was a kid. I thought they were great fun.
And you're not wrong. I like them. Yeah, everything here, everything's fun. The biggest failures are mostly, unfortunately, the Autobot ones, just being inferior to the Decepticon ones in every single way.
Yeah. I mean, I always try to check myself and think, is this bias? Is this because I just like the Decepticons better? And I always have. But then I look at the toys as an adult and I think, no, actually the Decepticons have generally got the better tunes here.
I would be interested to hear if somebody thought the Autobot headmasters were better and what exactly it was about them that made them better. I think that'd be quite interesting. If there's anybody out there, send us an email on the usual places or message because I'd like to know. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, as I say, mutual friend Ray Curran, he can't even be bothered with and he's got everything else.
Does he love this era as much as you do, would you say?
He loves this is his favorite era of G1.
Oh, so it's him and you are the same boat. This is
absolutely. He loves this stuff. Loves this era.
It's a good era, man.
So, I mean, you know what? I even love the shit stuff that comes later. I kind of like the Pretenders. They're crap. I know. I kind of like them.
I like the Pretenders as well. I think the Pretend we'll definitely talk about it when we get to them. The Pretenders start off rough, but I think they get to a really good place with
and by the way, if you want
to
see the Autobot Decepticon split writ large, the Pretenders, bloody hell. Autobots, boring as shit. They're all the same.
Because they're just
Decepticons,
men.
they're just guys.
Yeah.
They're just guys, right? Which, older George, fine. But monsters, right? All of them, all of the Decepticons, interesting monsters.
And Bondage Tom Selleck.
Yes.
Never forget the
Stranglehold.
Stranglehold, who's just there. The weirdest Decepticon
Freddie
one.
Mercury.
Oh, that works too. Yeah, I always see Tom Selleck, but Freddie Mercury works as well. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't think there's I don't think there's a weird gimmick that I don't like in the future. I'm just having a quick look. No, I like all of them.
I kind of love them, and I like the Micromasters too.
Yeah,
to be honest,
good.
I love the bases. I love the vehicle things that like slot together and then transform into platforms and stuff. I love all that.
Yeah, same.
Love it.
How many do we have? One. Hang on, is that right? 1, 2, 3. We only have 3 more of these, and then we're basically out of the G1 era, unless we look at the Japanese stuff, which if I can find some catalogs, we might do as well. Next time, it will be onto the Power Masters, Trigger Cons, Pretenders.
Oh God, I would love to come back for that if possible.
I'm sure we could do that. There's also Quick Switch.
Well, that'd be fun to talk about if nothing else.
Yeah, definitely. Well, how you have the king in your hand and you'd fumble it.
I know, right? God Almighty.
But we need to finish off the show as it's getting late. I realize that.
Yeah.
Mr. George, where can people find you on the internet and find all of your things? Because you do many things.
I do a lot of them in it, actually. So you can find me on the YouTube channel Exaggerated Elegy, where you will find podcasts and video game Let's Plays. But I generally talk about horror media, science fiction, fantasy on a range of different podcasts. You can find my published work, because I'm a published author, I'm a writer. You can find my published work, links to it over at strangeplaygrounds.com, or if you go to the Evil Empire of Amazon, you can type in George Daniel Lee and you'll find all of my short story collections available on there. If you go to Arrow Films, I think it's still on pre-order, or it might be available now. My colleague Kit Power and I actually feature on the new Hellraiser Blu-ray set on the Hellbound disc. We filmed a featurette for it called Hell is What They Wanted, and we're both very, very, very proud of that. So if you pop over to that, you'll get to see us waffling about Hellraiser. Basically, it's like this but for Hellraiser.
Oh no, what a shame.
Yeah, what a shame, right?
Yeah. Was it all of Hellraiser out of interest, or was it just the first one or the second one?
It was the second one, Hellbound. We started with that, and then we moved on to sort of like talking about our association with the wider franchise, and then the work of Clive Barker, because Clive Barker is kind of like my favorite writer in all of creation. I think he's a standout genius. His fiction is just on another level.
I was thinking you probably can't say a lot of positive things about 3 and 4.
No.
That would be harder to do.
That would be much harder to do, quite frankly. It really, really would. Don't get me wrong, they're kind of entertaining films in their own right, but Hellraiser, they ain't.
No.
They ain't. Apart from that, you can still find me on Twitter. Don't know how long that's going to last, quite frankly, with, Grotbag's eldest in charge. You can also find me over at Blue Sky, by the way. I am much more active on Blue Sky at the moment, and that's probably where I'm going to be building a bit more of the community from now on.
Is that still Exaggerated Elegy on Blue Sky then?
Yep. It's Exaggerated Elegy, yeah. It's probably going to be that everywhere, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it for me.
Cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining us on the Moonbase 2. You can find me on.
You guys.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube as Decayed Andy. Moonbase 2, Transformers Podcast, Twitter, iTunes, Facebook, Libsyn, YouTube. If you come over on YouTube at 8 o'clock on a Sunday, you can join in the chat like these lovely people have today. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. I will ask you guys as well, would you prefer the show to be an hour earlier or 2 hours later? Because those are the time periods that I can run from. Because I'm basically, Mikey's no longer with us, I can start the show much later, after 10 o'clock in the evening UK time, or I can basically start it an hour earlier and, go up to the time we are now. So let me know, because I would be interested to find out how best to stream would be. We'll be back next week, probably with the Transformers news.
Excellent.
2 hours later works for Orange. Yeah, send me a message over Twitter, over like the Discord page on my Discord, which is Decayed Andy. I don't know how people find Discord stuff, but you can go that way. I'll put the question out on Twitter as well. I'm gonna try and set up a Blue Sky thing for Moonbase 2 as well. I don't know how much I'll use it because it's difficult to use 3 social media things.
You've got to set up like a whole new like community thing. It's quite tricky. It is quite tricky.
Yeah, I'll basically have that basic set up as if the world explodes for Twitter, then I'll jump over there. It'll be
it might. It's sort of edge in that way.
It might not. I don't care either way. In all honesty, social media is the same place, just with a different name in my eyes. So thank you, everybody. We will catch you. I'll catch you next week for more Moonbase 2 action. Thanks, everybody. See you later.
Bye-bye.